There you go.
Are we live? Oh yeah. Looks like we are. Awesome. Alrighty. Let me go ahead and set up what we're gonna do today. Alright, for those of you who are in the chat, let us know if the audio is balanced correctly. You know, like if our host here, Jetstream, sounds leveled along with the game. If the game is too loud or if we're too loud, I'll go ahead and continue adjusting the audio as we go along. In the meantime, let me just go ahead and change a few things here, and then we'll get moving. Let's see.
Alright. So, we're playing Wonderful 101.
Absolutely.
Fantastic game, by the way.
Oh, I love this game so much. I'm
mean,
pretty
I know.
sure everybody who follows me on Twitter should know how much I love this game. I've already like freaking poured my heart out like crazy with this game.
No, I'm a big fan. I'm absolutely sure. I met you through Vash's Muscle Memory podcast.
Yeah, a lot of people met me through there, and like to this day, I am super thankful for Vash's podcast. I think that really helped get my name out there. I mean, I was already sort of kind of recognizable with Bayonetta, but with Vash, I'm already like expanding towards other territories, and that's why I'm here. You know, like I am super grateful to be helping along with you guys as part of the Reddit May Cry, Devil May Cry community charity stream. I love it so much. I'm just so stoked that something like I feel like it's a big honor for me to be here, you know? It's like one step above from what I used to do back in the old days when I was just uploading random Guinness World Record videos on my YouTube channel.
I mean, for me, okay, I don't even feel like I deserve to be here, honestly. Compared to most of the people in the community, I'm mostly just working on, like, how can I say this? Generally just lore stuff for Devil May Cry and working as a moderator for the subreddit. But in comparison, I don't know how to do like half the stuff you guys can do with the combos and stuff.
Oh, well, I see. Oh man, and I have a lot to say about Wonderful 101. I think I've already said a lot of it during my previous streams, but if there's one thing that I always like to bring up is that I think this was the game that got me to really appreciate like the wonderful world of action games, like the whole combo stuff and the crazy text that goes along with it. Because I didn't know anything about Devil May Cry, and I barely knew much about Bayonetta prior to playing this game, and Wonderful 101 really helped elevate me in the knowledge for, you know, getting into Bayonetta and Devil May Cry sort of thing. So yeah, like everyone's got their beginnings, you know? Like, is there a game in particular that you enjoy playing that you think you're pretty good at?
Well, actually, I think that would mostly apply to fighting games, although I am very good at very specific games that I just happen to find, and I'm like the only person who knows how to play them correctly.
Ah. Yeah, before like I was into action games, I was dabbling a bit in the fighting game community. Like I started playing fighting games with Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue. Like Blaze Blue more in particular, because before Blaze Blue I was into Guilty Gear, but not enough for me to say like I was good at it. I was just more obsessed with the visuals and the character designs for that game when I got it back on the Dreamcast. But it wasn't until I heard about Blaze Blue coming out on the Xbox 360, it was like, you know what? You know, this is the very first new fighting game by Arc System Works, I think it was. And I know that when it comes to Guilty Gear, they always make like updates on top of updates on top of updates. I was like, you know what? Let me get started with Blaze Blue so I can get right there in the beginning. And that's how I started getting into fighting games. And from there, I expanded into Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Skullgirls and... what other fighting games was I into? Oh, Street Fighter 4. Like, that's more because I have a friend of mine that is obsessed with the Street Fighter series, and he's always coming on over with the new copy, and we just go toe-to-toe. I remember back in Street Fighter 4, I was all about Rufus. I loved playing as Rufus.
Oh, but I also agree, actually. the 360 was the era where I actually started getting into fighting games because I played Super Street Fighter 4, specifically Arcade Edition. I really didn't know how to play until I went online and I got absolutely destroyed by a jury. And at that point, my world just expanded. I saw fighting games completely differently, and I took a break. But what really got me into the PC fighting community was Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think it's a fantastic game for like beginners and stuff.
Yeah, Dragon Ball FighterZ is super fun. I also enjoy playing that one quite a lot. I've taken a big break from it, but with the new season that came out and the new changes that they did to some of the characters, not to mention like they also added, you know, the ability to change your assist, which is a big deal for me because I love playing as Majin Buu. And I remember when I first played Dragon Ball FighterZ, I hated how Majin Buu's assist was not the gum toss, you know, like when he throws out the little gum. I was like, come on, that would have been the perfect assist. But of course now with this new update, he has it. I'm like, yes, that's perfect. I need it. So I have to get back to playing.
Like, I think the decisions they've been making with Dragon Ball FighterZ, like specifically with Season 3, have been fantastic. I've just been seeing a lot of people just coming back to the game.
Yeah, no, everything about it is so good. I have to get back into it someday. It's there in my backlog.
Yeah, the only thing that like really stops me from playing all the time is really just the online. They really needs to get like stuff like rollback netcode.
It really needs it. So many of these fighting games need better netcode, man. I cannot stand playing Smash Brothers with that awful netcode we have right now.
Yeah, it's really one field that Western game developers have like mastered the Japanese ones. I mean, ArcSys is working on getting rollback netcode with Guilty Gear Strive, but I'm not sure how that's going to be executed.
Ah. I'm personally looking forward to Strive. I haven't really been digging too much information on that game, but I remember playing the beta for a bit, and I thought it was pretty neat. A little too chaotic in the visual standpoint, but still fun.
Yeah, I think Strive sounds really fun. The visuals looks fantastic, just incredible. My main problem with it is just that, like, they're trying something new. It's not as fast as previous Guilty Gears. That's what just controls me off.
There's always that really tough balance that you have to find in trying to make a fun fighting game, but also making it accessible for the new players. There's actually there's a lot of good videos talking about that subject from this YouTube channel that I follow, Core Gaming.
Core Gaming, yeah.
Yes.
That's so good.
Such really good content there, man. If you viewers haven't seen it, you guys gotta watch Core Gaming. Really good information.
He has a YouTube video that I think was why button mashing doesn't work. It explains every single detail of like hardcore fighting game like strategy in like 15 minutes. It's fantastic.
Really, really good stuff.
Yeah, Strive has been trying something new, and I commend him for that. I honestly I don't enjoy how high the damage is and how slow the game is comparatively, especially like the slowed down air dashes. But like, it will definitely like track a newer audience, I think.
One of my friends tells me that he thinks they're changing up the pace so that it could be more footsie based, kind of like Samurai Showdown. I'm not entirely sure if that's actually what they're going for, but I mean, it's a pretty neat idea what they're going for, but you know, like a lot of people will always love Guilty Gear for the insane combos you can do and the complexity behind it.
Yeah, I think the people who have played it said it reminded them of Street Fighter specifically. And I mean, like, it's a good idea in execution. Like, the way that they've executed is good so far, but like, I'm worried it will bring problems in the long run, especially with the already formatted Guilty Gear community, which is very grassroots on fast-paced gameplay.
Hold on. Sometimes I get a little too occupied because I gotta focus on this. I'm so sorry if like I blank out sometimes.
No, absolutely. The gameplay is important, just talking stuff in general. Speaking of, you're just using a lot of techniques I've never seen before, honestly.
Oh yeah, no, like movement. Oh yeah, like I tell a lot of people like there's a lot of cool movement that you can do in Wonderful 101 that let's see, I'm trying to remember how it went because I never really gave it a name, but I know in my Discord group a lot of people call it what's it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. Unite Mix. And basically how that works is just like in Devil May Cry, these characters can perform stingers, right? But unlike Dante, you could do aerial stingers, at least as far as I know. And in Wonderful 101, there's a rule where you can only do one stinger in the air. However, if you draw a new shape while you're doing stinger, you can constantly throw out stingers every time you draw out the sword. So it'd be something like this.
Oh, right. So you just make a new sword in the air? So
yes. So
yeah.
By understanding that, you can get so much more mobility out of Wonderful 101. Like, for example, like the whip has one of the best stingers, right? If you cancel out of the stinger, you can get some crazy momentum.
Oh, I see it. That like looks almost like board flying in a way.
Yeah, it's a pseudo guard flying. Go figure, you know, something like this game would have like something of that. And actually, that's
we have.
What's up?
We have a $10 donation. We actually have a $10 donation from Carmelove23. Thank you so much. Let's go. I'll go in for charity and stuff.
Thank you very much. Keep those donations coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's reach our goal. We only have like 6 days to go, so
yeah,
it's our time. Anyways, continue. I'm actually really interested in the whip stuff.
Let's see. I'll try to bring out more cool tidbits that you could do in this game. It's really hard for me to like bring them all up because this game is loaded with so many little intricacies. It's kind of like up there with Transformers Devastation, where you really can't tell if half the things they throw in there was intentional or if it was a happy accident.
Oh, but those are the best ones, aren't they?
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely what makes the game so much fun, when you find all the little cool things you could do. It's extremely overwhelming here.
Yeah,
like,
I always love just finding stuff that the developers probably didn't even think of. It's a good feeling.
And what I'm currently working on a new video for Wonderful 101. Like, it's been so long since I've made a style video for it, so that's what I've been busy with for the past few weeks. And I hope I can get it done like by the next month. Like, it'll be for me personally, I think it'll be the best video I've ever made in such a long time. Like, I'm throwing out all these things I have never been able to show in videos before.
Yeah, with the release of the remastered version, I do think like a lot of people will get more interested in like style videos for Wonderful 101. I haven't really looked into it, but I think there's probably been an increase of people trying it.
Oh yeah, I don't know the actual sales number behind this game. I know there's a decent number out there. Like, this is not going to be like the best-selling game in the world, but I know little by little there are new people coming in with some interest. My only real problem is that while this is a great game, the port itself is a little on the shoddy side. Like, it really depends on your rig. Like, I know for some people, like on the PC, they've had issues where certain things weren't loading correctly, and some people were having random crashes. So I can't rightfully say that the PC version is the definitive version right now. I actually think the PS4 version is a little better, if only because it runs a lot more stable there. And if you want to play it on the Switch, be prepared for the really low frame rate.
Yeah, I heard about those.
Yeah.
I can't really say for myself because the way I've been playing Wonderful 101, I got it, and my PC right now is like just terrible. I'm using a really old PC, which is went broke, and I'm just playing like 640 by 800p resolution just to like get a consistent 60 frame rate. So I can't really tell if the problems I'm having is like me just having the settings really low or the actual problems with the game.
I know, like, someone in our Discord group did point out that that the resolution is the cause for some of the bugs in the game. he pointed to me that if you set the game to 1440p, some of the there's one enemy in this game that for some weird reason, if you throw out bomb at it, whoa, what the heck? Something happened where my okay, there we go. I don't know why my controller froze there. Okay, so there's an enemy that completely ignores bomb. If you throw a bomb at an enemy, they you basically slow down time for that enemy.
Yeah.
Kind of works like Nero's that arm that controls time.
Rec time.
Yes. So there's one enemy here who completely ignores it, and that's a bug. That's a really big bug. It happens in the PS4 version, Switch version, and PC. But on PC, if you set the game to 1440p, the bug actually gets eliminated. So that's one of the weird bugs that we've encountered. And there's quite a lot.
That's weird. I mean, does that happen in the Wii U version, actually?
No, actually. Like, the Wii U version, the only real problem the Wii U version had was bad frame rate and incredibly long loading time.
No.
The loading time is a godsend here, man. Like, 1 second loading times is the best thing this game could ever get.
I do assume that. I would assume that, like, the problem that's coming up with, like, the 40p resolution, like, eliminating the bug that would be in the PC version, is that that's probably the native resolution of the Wii U version.
Yeah, I really think that is what it is, the native resolution. Possibly, or they made that the native resolution when trying to remaster the game for a higher quality experience. Who knows? But there's like so many bugs that I really hope that Platinum Games fixes it. I know some of the people in my group, they've already contacted Platinum Games, and Platinum Games did acknowledge it, but we don't know if they're gonna actually move forward and make the fixes. But, you know, we can only pray. We got our fingers crossed for that.
I mean, the Kickstarter itself was actually kind of fast. I was not expecting them to release the game this quickly.
Yeah, because they mentioned the game was already good to go. Like, the Kickstarter was simply just to engage interest, to see if there were people who actually did want to get the game. The rest of the money is going towards the merchandise. So the people who requested for like the Wonder Pendant, the comic book, that's where the money's going towards.
Oh, right. That makes sense, actually. They did say it was good to go. By the way, you're doing some crazy combos with the sword in the air. You're also resetting like the air actions with a new Unite.
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of canceling moves. You can cancel out by pressing the, when you're on Xbox controller, it would be the X button. And I usually do that in order to put the weapon away. When you put the weapon away, you're essentially canceling whatever you just did, which allows you to bring out some attacks quickly. But you gotta be really careful because under the health bar is a battery gauge that determines how often you can be using these weapons. Like every time you draw a line, the battery depletes. So you gotta be very careful with that. Like if you constantly draw the same shape over and over and over again, you do waste battery quickly for doing that.
A very good game mechanic. It's encouraging just mixing and matching them. I mean, it's probably annoying in the early game, but
I know in the early game it is really annoying. You can't really do anything amazing. You have to work with what you got. That's why it's really easy to get turned off by Wonderful 101 when you play the game for the very first time. So I totally understand when people complain like, oh, why didn't it give me the dodge ability early on, or why isn't it available like right from the start? Yeah, I get that a lot. Like, so it's understandable. Like there are so many questionable decisions that Wonderful 101 makes, but with the remastered version, they did do their best to fix it. Like now, it's mandatory that you buy the dodge ability and the block ability right from the start. Well, right after the prologue, and they sell it to you at a very cheap price. Because before, I believe it had a decent price, but now they made it where it's dirt cheap. Like, there's no way you cannot afford it when you get to the shop the first time around. And if you try to back out of the shop, the game will say, oh, be careful, if you do not buy these things, you're going to die, or, something of that nature.
I didn't notice that, actually, the first time I played. Speaking of, I think, like, I'm actually kind of neutral on the aspect of, like, having optional moves that should be mandatory. But that's mostly because I played Kingdom Hearts, and like Kingdom Hearts is really notorious for having these.
Kingdom Hearts is a series I would love to get into. I never had the chance to try it out. And just recently, they added Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 on Xbox Game Pass. And I have a Game Pass, so I actually downloaded it a week ago. So I'm going to give that game a shot. I hear so many good things about it. Like, everyone loves Part 2. Part 1 is great, and then 3, there's like some downsides to it, I think. Like, I'm an outsider when it comes to Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts is actually pretty similar to Wonderful 101 in terms of like you just finding. It's not the type of game you would expect to have like a stylish combo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've seen cool gameplay for it.
Free was like pretty lackluster when it first like released, but even like pumping out like these updates and DLC that just made the game a lot more interesting in terms of combat, especially with the data bosses, which are just some of the hardest boss fights in the game. It's incredibly frustrating, but it's really satisfying to just finish.
See, the only reason, like, I have a friend of mine who is obsessed with Kingdom Hearts, and I remember he was talking to me about the game, and this is a guy who loves to hype up everything. So he was telling me, yo, Bambi is broken. And just with him saying that, like, I'm like, you know what? I gotta buy this game. Any video game that tells me that Bambi is a broken character is like, okay, that has to be an amazing game. I don't know the context behind that, but that's how he says it.
Bambi's broken? Wait till you learn about Stitch.
I need to learn all like these Disney characters and what they can do. I can only imagine what these other characters can do if Bambi is busted, from what I hear.
I think the best part of Kingdom Hearts is that it takes itself entirely seriously. If it like it had some self-awareness on the fact that they're using Disney characters in this very super serious anime story, it would not be as good of a series. But the fact that they like have Goofy die in part 2, just have him just be hit by a boulder and flying for the air, and everyone just crying at Goofy being dead.
Like, that was the thing that weirded me out about this. Like, it's a crossover between Final Fantasy and Disney, but apparently it's not self-aware enough about it. I don't know, because I remember when I first heard about it, I was like, oh wow, it must be a really silly game. And then when I watched my friend playing it, it starts off with this beautiful somber music. I'm like, whoa, this is a totally different take on what I was expecting.
Oh no, it's very like emotional and serious when it needs to be. It's silly, but like in its own way.
Yeah,
like it has like comedy scenes and stuff, but it never makes fun of the fact that it's just impossible to pick this combination.
Ah.
I mean, like half of the important characters in Kingdom Hearts are the original ones. The Disney part is like mostly just filler.
Ah, I see.
And also the Final Fantasy characters, for the sake of like not mixing up like the 10,000 year versus of Final Fantasy, they all just show up randomly in some parts of the story in their own like little universe. So it never makes sense or follows the chronology of Final Fantasy at all. So it's mostly just Disney.
Gotcha. Well, I still got a lot to learn about it, but someday I'll try the series out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really fun time.
Let's see. Hold on while I concentrate on this bit. This enemy loves disabling my my abilities.
Oh, so that's what the right of thing is.
Yeah, when you see that that aura surrounding us, it's because it's not letting me draw anything. Like, I could draw a shape, but it won't let me summon it.
This sounds annoying, actually. Just more than anything. I mean, it's disabling the main combat, just mechanic in the game.
Yeah.
It sounds like it sounds like a bad time.
Thankfully, there's only one enemy of its kind that does that.
Yeah, that's a relief. I would say, like, I mean, it can't be interesting when it's used like in very specific combat encounters, but like just having enemies that disable your abilities just sounds a bit like a chore to get through.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, nice.
So I actually wanted to make it clear because I didn't point this out, but what I'm playing right now is the Operation 101, which is kind of like the Devil May Cry's Bloody Palace.
Oh yeah, I noticed you were progressing for like a level. You're just going for the Bloody Palace.
The only difference here is that unlike in Devil May Cry where there's no real rules on what you got to do, here every mission they always throw something at you that you got to do, like either beat the bad guy in this amount of time, or you can only do this with certain amount of heroes. But as I progress, there's exactly 31 missions in this segment, but as I get somewhere around past the halfway point, it starts to open up and it'll allow me to really go wild. And when I get to those points, I'm gonna see if I can try to show off any real cool combos that you can do in this game. But for now, it's just a small struggle because like I'm starting off with 20 heroes, so you really can't do anything incredible with that.
Well, I'm excited. It sounds. Speaking of, you did say you were like doing a guide of sorts.
Yeah, I'm working on a guide for it. It's been very difficult because it's my first time like writing out a script and making sure that it's coherent. Like, I'll be honest, like I'm sometimes that kind of person that really hates how I sound like, so I always have to go back and rewrite the script to make sure that the words that I'm saying like is exactly the way I would need to pronounce it correctly. And I'm almost done with it. Like, the first guide is going to be an explanation on how to properly draw out the shapes, because that's by far the most important thing that a person needs to do, right? Because like most new players, when they start playing the game, like they sort of struggle with drawing the right shape. They end up getting the wrong shape and they're wondering, why is that? So I want to try to make a video that explains in heavy detail like why it is that certain things may not come out properly and how to properly gesture the shapes, which is a very important thing to acknowledge. It's not about drawing so much that it's about doing gestures. Kind of like if you're playing a fighting game and you're inputting a command. That's how I like to tell people when it comes to drawing out the shapes. Like, for example, if you want to do a gun, do like actually no, like do it like Ryu's Hadouken, so be like that, and then that's how you get gun. And if you want to do claw, it would be kind of like doing a Shoryuken. See, so something like that. If you can put yourself in that mindset, the game actually becomes a lot better as a result. You know, like, because then you don't have to worry too much about like looking at your shape. It's more about feeling it out. It'll get to a point where you'll be able to draw it without really looking at the screen. You know,
yeah, it sounds like a very good advice, actually. I've been having problems with like drawing in general, but it's mostly just the PC port. You're playing a controller, right?
Yes, I'm using a controller. A lot of people say that it's better to use a touchscreen like how it was on the Wii U, and while I'm not here to argue which is better, I will say that what makes Wonderful 101 great is that Platinum Games made sure to make it so that no matter what control scheme you use, it's functional. No control style is better over the other. Like, I've seen people, like there's a dude online named Phantom Resonance who did a combo video for Wonderful 101 using the touchscreen, and you can see he is lightning fast when he's drawing. So if there's one caveat to using a controller, is that you are bound by the speed that the game gives you. And I can draw pretty fast. Like this is the regular speed after buying the speed liner. But if you hold down the left trigger, you could draw it out a little more quickly. But even then, drawing with a touchscreen is a little better in terms of speed. But like I said, no controller is better than the other. It's all about preference. I can do all these things without any issues, just like how Phantom Resonance can draw out the shapes on the screen without a problem. It really does boil down to practicing. It's kind of like how a person may enjoy using a controller over a fight stick when playing fighting games.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually. As someone who draws a lot, I wish I had a touchscreen on like the PC port. I've tried with the mouse, but the mouse just has been like having these issues ever since I started trying it. But it just might be my resolution. I'm not sure if like anyone.
Some people have mentioned that the mouse is pretty bad. I haven't tested it out myself, but I did see some people who did a tremendously good job modding the Steam controller to work with the touchpad with this game. And it works beautifully. I actually had the chance to try it out, and it's great. My only problem is that the controller is a little bit oddly shaped for me, so I just can't get used to it. So it's back to the Xbox controller for me. But those who can use the game with a mouse and keyboard, or a touchscreen, or any other control scheme, it's like, kudos to them.
Well, I've actually been using a GameCube controller.
Ah, if you can use a GameCube controller, that's amazing.
I mean, the C stick is kind of the right stick. I mean, is kind of a bummer to use, but like you get used to it. It's actually kind of really light.
I actually think the GameCube controller has an advantage because unlike most of the newer controllers, the GameCube controller has like these angled edges on the outside, which allows you to rest your controller on corners, which makes it so much easier to draw straight lines, which is an issue that I sometimes get in this game. Because I'm using an Xbox controller and the sticks tend to be a little slippery, so sometimes I end up drawing a gun when I wanted to just draw a sword, even though I'm just drawing a straight line. So there is an advantage to using a GameCube controller.
I'm about to say something. I'm not sure if it's factually correct. But yeah, it's just mine that might be a bit like, weird. But the GameCube controller actually doesn't have a perfectly aligned what can I say, little edges on the right stick. They're not actually perfectly aligned, so there might be a few problems there. But it's generally useful, I think.
I still think it's useful. Like I know it has those cornered edges.
I mean, angle doesn't really matter as long as you're doing a straight line. So. Yeah. It shouldn't pose no problem. But yeah, wonderful 101.
Yeah,
wonderful game.
Wonderful game indeed. I cannot get enough of it. I never get bored of this game.
It's fantastic. I just haven't been able to enjoy it as much because of my bad PC. But as soon as I get a new PC, I'm going to start playing this seriously. I'm really excited just get into all the crazy stuff you can do with it.
I'm gonna concentrate on this one just a bit because this one requires me to beat these guys real fast.
Oh, I can see. The timer up there.
I kind of don't want to cheese it, but let's see if I can do it without cheesing.
I mean, there's no shame in cheesing.
Yeah, no shame.
If you're just trying to get to the spot where you can do crazy stuff, there's no shame on cheesing all the way.
All right. So there's a strategy in Wonderful 101 that's extremely easy to exploit. There's an ability that you can buy in this game called the Attack Liner, where when you draw your line, it can hurt the enemies. When you combine that with the bomb, you could do some severely deadly damage at the cost of a low score.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there we go.
I guess it makes sense. This makes sense. The score but counts like Unite morph damage, right? Not just
like whoever is the leader is will dictate the score you're getting. Like in the top left corner, you can see that it shows Gun. That means that Gun is the current leader. So if I'm damaging enemies with Gun as a leader, that's where the points are being added up from.
Oh, so obviously if you have Unite Morph, you're gonna like be dealing gun damage. Makes sense.
Okay, now for this mission, this one's actually a lot of fun for me. You gotta use an enemy weapon to destroy these dudes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cheese this one just a little bit, where I'm gonna be dodging into this dude. There's an ability that you can buy where your dodges do damage. Pretty easy to exploit. Because what I want to do is I want to leave this one enemy available. Because I like killing him with the giant chainsaw that I picked up on the bottom right corner. Well, I didn't pick it up, but it's there for me to pick up soon.
Now, by the way, speaking of, I think the enemy designs in this game are just incredible. I mean, just having the camera up there just leaves so much room for like big enemies that just look very menacing.
Yeah, like the game was designed, like they made sure to try to set the camera in a way where it doesn't obstruct your view, but it also needed to be angled in a way so that you could see the shapes that you are drawing. They had to take a lot of that into consideration. It's not easy, it's not the most favorable camera, but it still works when everything is aligned properly. Some people will struggle because they want to see what's going on, but just like with any game made by Platinum Games, if an enemy is off-screen, you gotta pay attention to the sound they make, because whatever noise they emit will let you know that they're about to wind up an attack for you. I kind of wish it would be a little bit more like Bayonetta, where if they're off-screen, they don't attack until they appear on the camera.
Oh yeah, that sounds really hard to get into. I'm personally very used to the way Devil May Cry works, where if the enemy's not on screen, it's just frozen in time. It does not act.
Ah. Yeah, that's right.
That's actually a very important... Just knowing when to get the enemy off screen is actually a very important skill to, like, properly survive with Devil May Cry if you're not good enough to, like, just kill the enemy instantly. For me, just knowing when to, like, take the threats off screen is the way I've gotten to, like, really high floors and, like, Valis most games.
I see.
And actually, I gotta go real quick. I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right.
Sorry.
Hey chat, if it wasn't for the fact that Operation 101 doesn't allow me to have all my heroes, I would have swapped over to Wonder Toilet as a tribute to to the little situation we got right now.
Alright, I'm back. Sorry for the wait.
Hello there again.
So yeah, speaking of Platinum Games, obviously you play a lot of them. Bayonetta, Wonderful 101 are just fantastic, not in most of the Platinum Games, you know. But I wanted to ask you if you know like something that happens exclusively in Platinum Games that I've been noticing for a while that I'm not sure if anyone has ever talked about. You know when you like do any how can I say this launcher attack? A launcher attack in Bayonetta, just I don't know, using weak weaves or any like
like a launcher, like yeah,
just any kind of launcher. That also applies to MGR, and because I was seeing like this new trailer for the new Platinum game that's gonna come out. This like all like medieval stuff. Here's the swords, kind of like Dark Souls.
Babylon's Fall.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
I was watching the trailer for the first time, and I noticed that when the guy used the launcher, there was sort of like a freeze frame effect, where the game like went to like 3 FPS for a brief time. And I remember that actually happens a lot, both in Metal Gear Rising and in Bayonetta.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever noticed that? Just
I don't think I actually noticed it. I think if I do notice it, it's happening in the back of my brain. I never really put much thought into it, but yeah, now that you bring it up, yeah, I see what you're getting at.
Yeah, I've played a lot of Metal Gear Rising, and I noticed how it's just happening a lot, especially when I'm hitting like very heavy enemies. And I noticed that also happens in Bayonetta. So I was just wondering because like a Platinum Games thing probably is.
I know like Platinum Games has certain little quirks that they always like to throw into their games. Like almost every game has a similar idea. You know, whether it's like I think the most common trait that Platinum Games always likes to do are slow motion effects, like all the time. Whether it's Bayonetta's Witch Time or the bombs in Wonderful 101.
And Transformers Devastation.
Yeah, Transformers Devastation also has it.
Yeah, I actually never knew like Wonderful. I did notice like you were dodging and there was like a brief Witch Time thing. I never actually noticed that happening.
Hold on.
I can tell you're concentrating. That was a crazy air combo.
Let's see if I could do anything. Let me see if I could do anything crazy. Hold on.
I mean, you already got there. You have nothing left to prove.
I fucking love this game. Oh man, I never get tired of this.
That was the skybox, right?
The sky's the limit with this game.
It was fantastic. You just boosted all the way up there.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, now comes an equally terrible mission. In this one, you gotta fight this giant tank, but it's not enough that you have to fight this tank. Remember those robots that kept disabling my Unite morphs? They're back.
All over.
So I'm gonna see if I can get rid of these dudes as fast as I can.
Are they also dropping like the bombs you're using?
Yeah, they drop so many things on you: missiles, bombs, cats and dogs, everything.
Oh man.
Oh, and the tank decided to join the party. Ah, Jesus, hold on.
I would let you concentrate for this one, actually.
Yeah, okay.
That sounds very stressful.
My go-to strategy for these dudes is to try to freeze them so that they stop throwing out that little time freeze thing, or little Unite morph disabling. And he should be gone now. Okay, so now I can just take care of the tank. The tank isn't nearly as bad as those little creatures.
Yeah, you're just stunning them all over. Yeah, it sounds like a big enemy if you're like have enough reach. Should be no brainer. Man, these slowdown effects look so good. Even this day, this game's like from 2012?
I believe it was 2012.
Yeah, they look fantastic even today. I remember seeing the slowdown effects for the first time with the bomb.
If there's one thing that I will always like about Kami is that he always prefers going for an art style rather than just going for visuals. You know, like Okami is a perfect example of a game that's aged beautifully.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, now you're giving me memories back. I love Okami on PS2.
I love it.
So great.
I actually got my little brother to play Okami, and he's loving it a lot. Like,
yeah, it's just
because he's always watching me play like these crazy games, and he's never gonna get into them. But I told him, like, what if I showed you a game made by the same dude that I think you're gonna love? And that's how I showed him Okami, and he's just been playing that a lot, and he loves it. So I'm happy that I'm able to show him more Kamiya goodness as something that he can enjoy.
Yeah, Okami is just kind of game like even the people who are not like specifically fans of Kamiya or Platinum games or don't even know like any context for like style games or whatever, they can just all enjoy Okami. I don't know a single person who's has ever said, "Oh, it didn't like Okami."
Nah, it's a really good game.
Yeah, incredible. In fact, like you did say Kamiya like prefers going for like art style over graphics.
Yeah.
And that's mostly true actually. I think that shines mostly in Bayonetta through the character design and enemy designs. I think they're just incredibly strong. I'm not like a big fan of the graphics in Bayonetta, especially the fire. I think it's kind of
Well, yeah, the graphics for Bayonetta is like, especially the first game, it's a little on the outdated side. Like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Bayonetta 2, but if there's one thing I will say about it is the visuals for Bayonetta 2 is clearly a big upgrade compared to the first game, and it's more incredible knowing that that's a game available on a Nintendo product. You know, like most people seem to scoff at Nintendo not being like good with visuals. Well, you know, Bayonetta 2 shows that it's totally possible among a huge slew of other games out there.
yeah, that and like a lot of other. I think Nintendo. I think that was a big influence of Nintendo, just going for art style over graphics, especially things like Breath of the Wild looks fantastic, even though it doesn't have that good of like industry standard graphics. It's more of like it gains a lot of its charm through the cel shaded art style, which is something that probably seeped a little bit into the production of Bayonetta 2.
Yeah. Who's left? Who's left? Oh no. Oh, there we go. Oh. Oh. Thought I was about to have a heart attack there. God.
This stream's a bit delayed. I'm just hearing your overreaction to things, but waiting for the happen.
All right.
At least
it was more like I was racing against time.
Yeah, it helps with suspense for sure.
Yeah. All right, 19. We're almost there.
It's 21, right?
31.
31.
Watch me destroy this guy in like 2 seconds. He's gone. I didn't even cheese that. I just used gun cyclone right inside his stomach.
I think like out of all games like focused on style, I wouldn't even say this game like mostly focused on style. That you can just do crazy stuff, and I think Wonderful 101 is the one that allows for more the most creativity when approaching enemies.
I actually believe
for the
like what I want to bring up quickly. I'm sorry to interrupt. This I believe this may be one of the most. I probably like. How do I say it? I honestly think this is one of the most deepest games Platinum Games has ever made. Because while Bayonetta has some great depth to it, there are some restrictions here and there, like how you're only allowed to carry like 2 pairs of weapons. With Wonderful 101, you get access to every single weapon out there. It's just a matter of drawing right into it. So, like, that toppled with all the really cool little intricate things that you can discover, I really think this game is the most Platinum Games title you'll ever see.
I mean, that's a bold statement, but I would agree with you actually. I think it like highlights a lot of the stuff that this game does well. Not just like the style action stuff that I think Bayonetta highlights a lot more, but just the general the general gist of it. Just not just like uh, heavily crazy style action, but also like the soul of the studio, just what they're capable of doing.
Mm.
Because there's just so much stuff to work with.
Yeah,
It's
so
just a very
much.
interesting game.
The big problem with Wonderful 101 that I heavily agree with is while this game is so good, it's so in-depth, it does a poor job of explaining to the player what you can do, what you can and can't do. And there are moments where the game has a lot of inconsistent moments with its rules, which is a problem in and of itself, but mostly just the fact that it does a poor job of explaining to the player all that you can do. But I feel like part of it is also just like Kamiya wants you to discover all these things on your own, because it can be a lot of fun when you see everything click into place when you discover how it works. But I mean, what do you think? What would be a good idea though? Like if a game leaves it up to the player to explore, do you think it should really tell the player everything? Or like how much should a player know before they venture off to discover these things on their own?
Well, I come from a background of fighting games, and fighting games have infamously bad tutorials. They just don't explain it very well. Some of them don't even have them, especially like older ones. Older titles are especially bad at this. But I've been playing fighting games specifically from like Japanese developers. I want to highlight, Under Night in Birth, whatever the rest is, Exegulatus. That's the French bread title.
Oh yeah,
it's a fantastic fighting game. Fantastic fighting game, reminds me a lot of Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and all that. And the tutorial is very in depth. Like it tells you everything. It does not like hold back on you at all. It does not assume the player is new to fighting games. It just goes straight on. You go into the character tutorial. There's like a 2-page move list, gigantic combo you have to do to like get past the tutorial. So it does not hold back at all, but I also feel like it loses some of the charm by explaining everything you can do straight up. Like every mechanic available in the game that most players use in high level play is just straight up in the tutorial. Sometimes they add new ones in newer updates, and I think that's like it loses some of its charm, you know?
I do remember like a friend of mine had me try out Under Night in Birth. And I do remember seeing the overwhelmingly huge list of things that you can do in the game to practice mode. I don't think it's bad to really tell everything to the player, but let me see. I'm reading someone here said make experimentation fun, but more in-game resources is always a good idea, and that is definitely true.
Yeah, I think that's the mindset I want game developers to go through in future games. Just leave room for the player to like. Have creative input on the decisions they make, but try to tell them what. I think giving them the tools to just go wild and do whatever they want is a good idea. Not necessarily giving them the instructions.
I do agree. Like someone here mentioned, that Wonderful 101 definitely needs a practice mode. And while there is a practice mode, it's locked away in the loading screen. And since loading screens load real fast here, you really can't do anything about it, which is kind of ironic when you think about it.
That reminds me of DMC Devil May Cry. That was a big complaint it had.
Hold on, let me concentrate a bit because like I'm low on health and I have to make sure not to mess this up. Oh! Damn, what did I get hit by? I actually didn't see what it was I got hit by. Well, thankfully, with Operation 101, you don't actually start at the very beginning. You just start at the current mission you were at. Well, okay, no, not the current mission, the current segment. So
That's
not a big loss.
relieving. As someone who has gone through like hundreds of hours of going through Bully Palace and 4 and 5, I was about to have a heart attack there right before you.
Of course, this also means I'm going to end up with a low score, but I mean, who cares about that? The same floor, yeah. There you go. Yeah, thanks, Last Gogeta.
Yeah. Man, going through like Bloody Palace, I've actually never like gone through floor 101, which is typically the last floor of Bloody Palace in most games. Except Free, which has a really insane number scoring system. It's like very hard. Just it requires less style and more strategy. You have to go through the floor rooms multiple times, and there's no option to like train specific moves, especially in older games. Like I think 5 has one, but only the rooms you have already gone to.
Oh yeah, that's right, that's right. 5 does have that.
Yeah, there are trainers. Trainers are very useful. Just allow you to use the game in ways that allow you to like just practice and practice stuff you were never able to do before in the base game. But aside from that, I'm just waiting until Capcom just straight up goes into. They've made a step in the right direction with 5, just allowing for like a standard training mode to exist in the game that was surprisingly not a thing until 5, or specifically DMC Definitive Edition. But yeah, they've been going in the right direction so far, and I think like if they allow for you to like have more options in training mode, just add more and more enemies, add bosses in training mode. All that stuff, I think they can like allow for people to creatively express themselves in Devil May Cry in ways they've never been able to before.
Yeah.
I think Devil May Cry is the type of game that needs more of just straight up telling the player what to do, because I see a lot of people, especially streamers, try Devil May Cry for the first time. And for a game that is very focused on finishing off your enemies in a stylish way, it never really rewards all pushing the player in the right direction to do more stylish stuff, and I wish it did that more.
I see. That is true. Like, I mean, I've started dabbling in the Devil May Cry franchise all of this year. Like, I actually had the chance to play through all the Devil May Cry games, and I've loved each and every single one of them. And I remember spending a lot of time with 5, because that was the one where I felt like, okay, I feel like I'm compelled to make a video for this one. And after spending a lot of time playing 4 and going back to 5, I could see like how 5 feels like a step behind in many aspects. It's still a good game in its own right, but I totally understand why like many of the high-level players are not too fond of 5 so far. But yeah, no, like I know what you're getting at with what you were saying. Like, it really needs to tell the player more about like I'm sorry, I'm too caught up on this one.
Yeah, I noticed. You're having a hard time, but
we don't talk about DMC 2, by the way, because Last Gogeta just brought that up.
Yeah.
You know what though? Real gamers don't skip 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Super best friends, I'm calling you out.
Man, I miss those dudes. Well, I missed it when they were together. Oh no, like I currently watch a lot of the stuff that Matt McMuscles does, and so many good stuff there.
I think the stuff that Pat and Willie do, like a podcast, is just incredibly entertaining, even now. But it's hard to get into because it's the super best friends like fan base as a whole. It's just the podcast has devolved into just 2 hours of inside jokes.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very entertaining part of it, but it simultaneously just makes it very hard to just understand anything.
on a sec. Let me just take care of this giant enemy crab.
Giant enemy crab. Attack its weakly for massive damage.
Oh crap. Alright, he's almost dead. All we gotta do is get to the juicy center. There we go, there we go. There's my
Nice.
revengeance.
That was a very historically accurate showdown there.
Yeah, very historic. And accurate. Oh man, I miss the old days of the internet memes. Like the classic internet memes, you can't beat them.
Oh man, I'm relatively, in comparison, I'm relatively new to the internet, mostly because I was born after, the old classic meme era. But I mean, not born after. I was just getting into the internet after.
No, I gotcha.
But I look back to a lot of the stuff that people were sharing before, and I just think, man, that was just so much. That was just so much fun. It was also a lot more longer lived too. Memes nowadays are just dying.
I feel more like memes today, they just generate out of more random humor rather than like there being some context behind the silly shenanigans that prompts for memes to happen. Reminds me of because I used to grow up on 4chan and YTM&D, that sort of thing. That was always my internet humor back then.
Forum culture in general just fascinates me. I think memes that would be usually shared in forums in the late 2000s are probably the best ones. Memes, the DNA of the soul. Let's go, Gita. Man, the dialogue of Metal Gear Rising was just
Metal Gear,
fantastic.
I don't know what it is about Metal Gear Rising, but it always manages to stay relevant because of how weirdly written it was, you know?
That applies to all of Metal Gear, but Rising specifically nowadays.
Rising itself is what I meant. Oh, God.
And the craziest part of it is that Kojima did not write this game.
That's right. He wasn't really heavily involved with the story, right? I don't actually know.
Or the development itself. Kojima was he wasn't even he was barely in the credits actually. It was mostly just crediting him for creating the series in general. But Kojima had almost no involvement with Metal Gear Rising at all, which makes it so much more impressive that it actually manages to out weird out Kojima in terms of how stupid the story gets.
Oh man, I'm not gonna badmouth a certain video game that came out not too long ago, but I honestly loved how after its story got leaked, suddenly Metal Gear Rising became relevant again. Just because
Metal Gear Rising,
it's so perfect.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and there's a very good reason for that. Metal Gear Rising has an incredibly deep story that covers a lot of themes. Pretty much every single mission has a new development for the story, a new psychological dilemma to just get through, and it does that with the least pretentious story around. It's just incredibly crazy. It never stops. It's back-to-back action, and this game you're talking about, that I know what it is, in comparison is a lot slower. It treats itself a lot more seriously, and it reminds me a lot of a movie. And Metal Gear Rising just proves that you can't tell a story through gameplay, and in a way that in a way that is interesting enough, so that you don't lose the fast-paced action of the not only the story but also like the gameplay segments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very relevant comparison.
Very. Alright, we got one enemy here that I think I'm going to try to style on for a bit.
I'm gonna watch that slightly delayed, so things overreact as much as possible so I know what to expect. Or just going ham already. Oh. Oh man, I like how you can juggle them even after they're dead.
There we go. So good.
Yeah, it's gone. Man. This probably takes a lot more skill than you make it look.
I make it look easy, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
When I was doing my stream the first time around, like I know there were like a small group of people just watching me go at it. I was like, how the heck did you draw that so fast? It just takes a lot of...
Like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I agree, especially with like I think the drawing aspect is one of the most interesting parts because it's a balance of both hitting the right buttons, hitting the right combination, just quick thinking, knowing how the enemy AI works, knowing how juggling works, adjusting your position in comparison to the enemy. But while you're doing all of that, you have to pay attention to the shapes you're drawing,
Yeah.
which just makes it a lot more difficult. I don't know how the guy you mentioned that does this on a Wii U gamepad managed to do that.
And it's very impressive how he does it. I don't know how he does it. He did make a video where he demonstrates it, and even I'm still baffled when I see it. It's just impressive, all things, like, no matter what. No matter what, yeah.
Yeah, style action is just... you can say that about every style action game, really.
Oh yeah, of course.
I love how, like, every time I go through one of them and just find all the crazy stuff people can do, and even some of my own, and I look up online and see these people just utilizing the strategies I've discovered in ways that I've never thought possible. And I just think, wow, that takes a lot of time and practice. And that applies especially to Wonderful 101, which is just completely different from any other style action game I've ever played.
There we go.
You were really...
Yeah, I'm cutting it close, man. Oh boy.
That was tense. I noticed you were with very little health.
Alright. Almost there.
Oh boy. They deal so much damage. It's so hard to keep up with too. Every time I play Wonderful 101, which is say like twice so far, I thought like losing all of my little heroes every time I take damage is such an exciting, rewarding task to just get them all back up. Probably because I don't have like enough upgrades or something. But like, so I just try to maximize the time I'm spending dodging and just avoiding damage in general, just so I don't have to deal with that. It's such a movement-heavy game.
There we go. I was trying to juggle all three at once, but I kept screwing it up. But it's cool. I think at one point I juggled two, so I'll take that.
They were so big I couldn't even tell.
Yeah, it's really tough to juggle the big enemies. In order for it to work, you have to have a big weapon.
It makes sense. I think the sword. You've been using the sword a lot.
I do use the sword a lot. I will admit that the reason I use sword a lot is because it's a really easy weapon to draw, and it's the most useful weapon to use as well. It has a good range, good launcher distance, really good stinger. There's no bad side as far as I can tell when it comes to using sword. It even has an elemental property where you can get electricity, which further increases the hit stun of the enemies. There's almost no downside to using the sword.
Yeah,
and
it sounds like a very useful weapon in general. Yeah. Especially the reach. The reach part is like the most, especially with me on like early game. The reach, I've been having a lot of trouble just getting all the enemies together in one place. So having the reach of the sword is just really useful.
That's why, like, for my video that I'm working on, I'm making sure that I'm not just using sword combos, because that was one of the big mistakes that I did when I made the last Wonderful 101 combo video, where it was just getting too samey. So for my new video, like, I'm making sure that I'm throwing out as much weapons as I can, and it's not like overly repetitive, and I'm doing my best to make it as exciting to watch as any good Wonderful 101 video can possibly get.
Yeah, just seeing all the crazy combinations of weapons. There are so many. You can just
like
really.
I gotta bring up something because like I was really stoked about this. I brought it up in my Discord group, but when I posted on Twitter my little preview video for like the combo video, I posted a little teaser for it. Platinum Games messaged me, and they said that they would like to tweet the video once it's live. And I'm like, oh no, I can't believe it. They actually saw what I was working on. I'm freaking blown away that they saw it.
You're rising up, really.
Yeah.
It's like you said.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah, speaking of like both things you've done and you rising up the ranks in like the style video community or whatever. I'll admit that I haven't seen much of your channel yet, but the one video I have seen was the Bayonetta Bitcoin beat.
Oh yeah, like that was like my very first Bayonetta combo video, and I'm still proud of it because it was really good. Like, it was the one time where I tried to focus on using the lyrics to match up with the combos, which it's not easy to do.
On the podcast, I saw it and I just thought it was incredible. It's probably one of my favorite combo videos ever. I would say. I'm not sure if Mills is on the chat right now. That might have been a dangerous thing to say. I'm sorry, Mills. I really love your combo videos. But yeah, fantastic stuff.
Thank you.
I really loved it. I think like the whole matching up thing was really clever.
I actually want to bring this up since you mentioned the podcast on this particular video. I did a pretty poor job of explaining why exactly I picked out that song. I picked it out originally because I wanted to use it for a what was the name of that game?
Right? Mad World, right?
I'm trying to remember what was the game. It was Odin Sphere. There we go. I wanted to use it originally for Odin Sphere. But eventually, when I turned to Bayonetta to make that video, I feel like part of the reason why I also chose this song was because like it's a rap number where it's a guy like stepping in and saying, "Okay, guys, here's how you do it," like kind of like a rap battle kind of thing. And I felt like it was super appropriate because since I made the video as a tournament to see who would be the best, I felt like it'd be like Bayonetta stepping into the circle to bust a really cool, sick rap number. Like, that's how I viewed it when the video went live, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the song itself is awesome. I've listened to it tons of times.
Yeah, it warms my heart when I hear people say like, "Yo, dude, I love your video and the song you picked is awesome," and then, you know, later on people start telling me like, "Oh man, that's a good song" and whatnot. Because yeah, like, it makes me happy because like I've mentioned it too many times. Like I'm the music dude. All my friends like to call me the music dude. So every once in a while, my friends are like, dude, like you gotta like give me a song for me to listen to, and I'll just throw them a song, and it's like, oh man, I love it.
And getting people to watch or listen to things you like is the best feeling, right?
Yes, it is. It is. It's a great feeling.
Like a lot of people don't like reaction videos like that, but I personally think they're awesome because I get to like see people experience things I enjoyed and see them excited about stuff, and I really don't get that stuff in like real life because most of my friends just don't like the stuff I like. So I get to have the opportunity to just see people excited for these things.
Yeah.
So yeah, just you just recommending stuff to your friends, specifically music, and having them listen to it. Man, that sounds like a dream.
Yeah. And these were my old friends, like, because they moved out. So I have a new set of friends that they don't really recognize me as the music guy, but it's no big deal. Like, I still got those friends that I chat with on a daily basis, and every once in a while I also do streams where I just pick out songs to play in the background while I'm playing, and a lot of people always like to comment on how much they enjoy the music. So again, it just makes me happy when people enjoy the stuff that I do and what I share with others, you know?
Yeah, that's just the best, you know. I've been like considering starting making content on YouTube, just whatever I can come up with, just for this sort of say like. Having people also be interested in things I like and enjoying the things I produce. I think that's an incredible feeling. Like, you definitely got me to enjoy both your combo videos and the music you picked.
Awesome. That's right. We are still streaming for charity, so if you guys haven't already donated, go ahead and donate. Very important.
All right, I should be saying that. That's my job. Yeah, what he said.
Hey, we're working together here, man. It's not just a one-man job.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, my job is to talk. You're doing all the hard stuff. I'm not out here just juggling the enemy up in the air about thousands of feet. I'm just sitting on my ass talking about video games.
Video games.
Video games. But yeah, what he said, we're still working towards the donation goal of $1,000 to charity. Doctors without bottom orders. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Just all the streams we're gonna do throughout the week, up until like what was it? July 20th, right? What was the last day? Let's see. Yep, July 20th. Up until then, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have like Ruben Langdon on the last day. That's gonna be incredible.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
can't wait to see that.
So excited. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun all throughout. So while you're enjoying, consider donating to charity. Let's work towards that $1,000 goal. We're mission 29. They're 31, right?
Yeah, we're almost there. 31 is the last one. But they're not going to make it easy.
Absolutely. So far, I've been having a lot of trouble. You're incredible at this game. I can only imagine like a hard time that we have if we practice this.
almost there. You think it's over, but no. Now comes the entire cavalry.
Oh man. Oh wait, we're still on the same floor.
Yeah, still the same floor.
I mean, at this point, you have to prioritize damage over style.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, yeah. I'm gonna go all out on this one. Hold on. I just need to find a good spot where I can do this. Hold on.
The last Gogeta says a set of Tiger Rangers appears out of nowhere. I'm not sure if you're talking about Power Rangers or just Rangers in general.
It's these creatures. They kind of look like tigers.
They actually kind of look like Grissom Glory, actually.
Yeah, actually, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the intention. There are so many platinum-related gags in this game, so yeah.
Yeah, there's Bayonetta.
Oh yeah, that's right. Bayonetta's in this game. I forget sometimes. You know what? Let me summon her. Alright. The second to last mission. And for this one, they're going to bring out the two brothers. Let's see. What were their names? Walga and... God, I always forget their names. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit of stylish maneuvers around these dudes.
Walga and the other one. Isn't John in the scene too? Or is it just Bayonetta?
John is here, and so is Radon. Lambo, there we go. Waltha and Lambo. That's their names.
Oh yeah, Lambo's the red one, right?
Yep.
I mean, I knew. I knew. Well, I mean, I wasn't in, but I didn't expect Rodon to be in it too.
Let's see, like,
was that like added to like the remaster?
No, they've always been here since the original. Like, there's Bayo.
That's a lot of stuff.
And let's bring out John. There she is. And of course Rodon. There he is, with his sweet hat.
They're all Wonder Bayo.
Yeah, Wonder Bayo, Wonder John, and Wonder Rodon. And also, they were trying to put Beautiful Joe here, but Capcom said no, so they threw in this character named Poseman.
I don't know how you're calling them all individually.
The way to do it is draw the biggest weapon related to that character. So if you want to bring out John, draw the... if you want to bring out John, draw the biggest sword. If you want to get Bayo out, draw the biggest gun. That's how it works. Alright, here we go. The last mission is a mirror match against Vorkin.
Oh, that's sick, actually. Vorkin is the Sixth Ranger guy. I just call him Sixth Ranger because that's what he is.
You wouldn't be wrong.
I mean, it could easily be a Super Sentai team, just the wonderful ones. They have all the tropes. Speaking of, I think mirror matches are some of like the best concepts in style action games that they just execute so
Oh yeah,
well.
no, they're the best.
Rivals in general, just human-sized matches in those video games are just fantastic. I mean, here it doesn't make much of a difference because all the weapons are giant, and you generally just fight giant enemies anyways. It almost seems underwhelming when Fordon is like the size of a peanut, but yeah, it's still very interesting considering he also can unite morph, which I don't know the lore to actually. Don't they have like electromagnetic gel?
I think that's what it is. I actually forget sometimes.
Yeah, the opening segment has like a whole.
Yeah, they explain the technology behind it. That's right.
They transform with like 0.3 quadrillion seconds. Or something?
Yep, like they're able to transform in like a quadrillionth of a second.
It reminds me a lot of like old Tokusatsu. That's probably where they took all of that from. Just the random narrations. Speaking of Tokusatsu, like this whole game just smells of the genre. It's almost like a homage. I spoke about the Super Sentai thing this year. That was probably on purpose. Oh yeah, Kamiya's in this game also, right?
That's right, yeah, Kamiya is in this game. I almost forgot about that. I forget too much about this game for some reason. I should be the Wonderful 101 guy.
I mean, there is a lot to like get, so I wouldn't blame you. There's a lot to learn, a lot to forget. So, I mean, I guess that just speaks to the complexity of the game. As complex as having Kamiya in it gets, which is to say a lot. This fight seems surprisingly easy, bro.
It's actually not easy. Like, you have to be completely aware of everything that Vorkin's gonna throw out at any minute, and then adapt to what he's doing.
I mean, you're making it seem easier, for sure. I have no context for this. I know Wonderful 101, but I don't know, like, how hard it gets, because I haven't actually finished it myself. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine he's probably, like, one of the fastest enemies you've fought so far.
I wouldn't say he's fast, he's just really slippery.
I mean, I noticed he's like dodging around, which is probably invincible.
Almost there. Let's try to end it on a good note.
It is the rival character, you gotta end it style.
Hold on.
Speaking of, I love his boomerang. It reminds me a lot of Round Trip from Devil May Cry.
Oh, it is so good, especially as a support weapon. Like, you're gonna, in my combo video, you're gonna be seeing a lot of boomerang tossing.
Yeah, I see you using it just to get them to spin in the air.
Hold on a sec. There's Kamiya.
Oh man, Kamiya should have its own his own like unite ability, unite block.
I didn't get to show it to you here, but like you can make him taunt, and he'll yell out, "Ask your mom." But if you want to know, he's actually one of the worst characters in this game. He's got the slowest speed. His laser attack is like weak as hell.
I don't know, man. If I was Kamiya, I would purposely make myself the strongest character in the game.
He also dies in one hit, so I mean, yeah, he's there. He's probably there as like as a gag. He's like, nobody gets to play as me. If you want to play as me, you're gonna suffer.
I mean, I would like to see a Kamiya only run.
Oh boy. That would be interesting, actually. I don't think I'd be able to. I don't think I'd be able to do anything like that.
In the silver ranking, I'm not even gonna blame you on that one. That's
Yeah.
perfectly acceptable.
It could have been better. I know I've been able to do a platinum run for this, but you know what? I'm here to have fun. See,
Yeah,
you can see
you
right
don't
there.
even-
I did a platinum run. See, I got
Yeah,
proof.
you don't. Yeah, you got the receipts. There's no need to just put that much effort into it, especially with how hard it gets.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna back out of Wonderful 101 because now it's time to swap over to Bayonetta.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to see some witch time action. Yeah. I actually never finished Bayonetta. I actually never finished Bayonetta myself. Like I got halfway into the game, but I don't know. I never really tried to finish Bayonetta. And the one thing that put me off was mostly the graphics.
Mm.
I know that
understand.
sounds weird. I know that sounds weird as someone who like plays a lot of style action games. Like realistically, the graphics should not matter a lot. But I don't know, man. I just have a big thing against the fire.
I understand completely, though.
Yeah. I would be excited to play Bayonetta 2, although I've heard from other people that it isn't as technically. I'm gonna say this, it's not as deep.
All right. Oh, can you guys see Bayonetta?
I can't. Just fine.
All right. Making sure.
Yeah, everything seems working fine.
All right. Cool. All right. So just like before, I will be tackling Bayonetta in Angel Slayer mode, and I'm gonna see how long I can last. Oh yeah.
Hardest difficulties in move selection games are just very stressful. I generally, my preferred difficulty for Devil May Cry is Son of Sparta, mostly because Dante must die. Just having to deal with like all the enemies just coming to double trigger is really stressful.
Oh, it seems like we got a donation there, didn't we?
Oh, nice. We just got a $101. Oh, or rather, $101 donation from the last Gogeta, saying simply beautiful.
Ha! That's great. Very cheeky, but I love it.
Thank you so much, Gogeta. You just contributed to our $1,000 goal by a lot. That was very much appreciated. Thank you.
Let's see. Where is it? All right.
Yeah, there's so many weapons in Bayonetta.
There's a lot.
I've got a fever.
I mean, I know a lot of them like have the same functionality. That's why they're separated into slots. But it's still like a very impressive number.
There we go. All right, now let's do some angel slaying action.
I mean, I love the angel designs in Bayonetta. They remind me a lot of like biblically accurate angels that not a lot of media manages to get right, but I think Bayonetta does a wonderful job. I think the Lumen Sages as well, just very good to look at.
Yeah, they're definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about with the fire. Man. Oh. Nice. Just whipping them up. I think the whip is probably... I saw a lot of the whip in action on the What Do You Call It video watch over channel. This seems like a very important. It seems like a very important aspect of gameplay. Just, I mean, I think that applies to like every single style action game. Just managing your position in relation to the enemy.
Yes,
It's just very important. I think Bayonetta specifically because there's so much space to work with. In Devil May Cry, you're mostly just keeping the enemy near you. And it only really matters when you're like doing something crazy, like the one we played before, where you're like broad flying and you have to pay attention to at the angle you're doing, so you can get near the enemy when you're teleporting back. And even then, you can't teleport back with Dante just with your trick. So controlling your position to the enemy is mostly done through micro spacing to just get some certain combo strings ready. But with Bayonetta, I feel like there's so much space to work around.
Yeah, there
You
definitely
have to pay a lot
is.
more attention.
Like it becomes even more apparent when you start to learn like skills like dodge offsetting, which allows you to control your combos so you can throw them out whenever you really want to. Because while Bayonetta may not be as deep as Devil May Cry in the sense that you can have the freeform combos, like everything in Bayonetta is more about doing dial combos. I think the implementation of the dodge offset system is what really gives Bayonetta the depth that it needs. Because it allows you to just move around, position around the enemies while going through your list of combos instead of just mashing away at your buttons. You could definitely tell, like, you could definitely see the difference between like a low-level player playing Bayonetta and a high-level player playing Bayonetta. It isn't just, you know, simple button mashing like a lot of people make it out to be. Of course, there's no harm in button mashing, it's so much fun.
We just I had a few problems there. Just wait. Yeah, I heard a lot about specifically dodge offsetting. That was like the main mechanic I heard a lot of people talk about when they talk about Bayonetta, specifically like more advanced combos. I never really learned how to use it effectively.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
Just okay.
practice.
It reminds me a lot of, in concept at least, it reminds me a lot of canceling attacks with blade mode in Metal Gear Rising, which is something I've been trying to get good at. I mean, Mills just has been displaying that a lot more of all attack he's been discovering. But like, it reminds me a lot of that, just rapidly canceling stuff.
You want to touch me?
I mean, if there's something that I like about Bayonetta's combat, is just how fluid it seems to just move around. Especially when you're fighting multiple enemies. Like in Devil May Cry, it's like very rare to see like a combo video where you see someone dealing with two enemies at once. But in Bayonetta, combat just flows so like in a way that I don't know, it just flows very well. So you can like go from enemy to enemy in a way that just seems very impressive.
Her attack range is like
Cry,
really huge too. That helps out a lot, like especially those wicked waves.
yeah. In Devil May Cry, it's more of a chore than anything. It looks kind of sloppy when you're like going from enemy, unless you're like very good at making it flashy. But in Bayonetta, it seems like it's so fluid that you can just do it on instinctively, where you're dealing with multiple enemies at a time. So I think like in the video I've watched, because I haven't really watched a lot of Bayonetta combo videos, but the ones I've watched, it's mostly just I see a lot more just dealing with multiple enemies at once, which I think it mostly just speaks to the way Bayonetta handles combat encounters. I think it's very well executed, especially with the way they program combat in general.
Sorry, I get so focused.
No, it's fine. As I told you, you're doing all the hard part.
Yeah,
You're providing entertainment necessary for the people who keep watching.
that's right. That's right.
So I will not interrupt you while you're concentrating on gameplay. Also, utilizing enemy weapons. I think it's a very. I guess that's one of the platinum quirks you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely a
That
platinum
happened,
quirk.
yeah, that happened wonderful 101. You're using them a lot. Metal Gear Rising has some of that, but it's mostly during takedowns and like some story missions.
Yeah. Can never dodge that laser.
Oh, yeah, that seems rough.
Oh, darn it. Gonna have to start healing. In Angel Slayer, every time you perform a torture attack, you get a little bit of health back. So it's an incentive to always do torture attacks here.
The difficulty set is Bayonetta. I'm not very familiar with.
In Angel Slayer, you start off on normal, and as you make your way to the top, it gets progressively harder and harder. To the point that on the hardest difficulty, which time gets disabled completely.
Oh, oh no, I've heard like the hardest difficulty Bayonetta just doesn't have witch. It doesn't have witch time at all.
Yep.
I think I heard it in like the Foxgate video, which was also very entertaining. By the way, Foxgate is one of the streamers here, which is very exciting.
Oh no, Foxcade is the dude. Like, absolutely love his videos. I can't wait to see what's next on his list. I absolutely enjoyed the last one he did. He was talking about Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I left a comment there. I was basically saying, like, I had originally thought that game was a joke because, well, it looks like a low-budget fighting game. And to be perfectly honest, it kind of is. But you think that it wouldn't have, like, a good amount of depth to it? Like, it's not even depth. It's just the game itself is just so much fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got the chance to try it out through the Game Pass, and yeah, it surprised the hell out of me how fun it actually is.
Yeah, Battle for Grid is just so much fun, and especially fun for me because I've been a fan of Power Rangers for a long time. I've been more active recently because of just watching a lot of Tokusatsu. But it's filled with so many like fun stuff. It really is just how can I say this? Fan service the game for Power Rangers. It's something that we haven't gotten like a long time. And it's also a fantastic fighting game. The only thing I don't like about Battle for the Grid in terms of gameplay is how much touch deaths are prevalent.
Oh yeah.
Combos.
It's almost a given that you'll always see touch of deaths in fighters that aren't really high budget because sometimes they're working so hard on making sure that the game is fun that they don't realize that players can figure out the exploits, and that's how it leads to those types of games.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like nowadays. It's almost like mandatory for like these games to have them if they've been designed as such, because like at some point you just have to understand that like if you're developing the game, at some point you have to understand that these problems will come up. So I like to think that was intentional entirely, because I mean, the game itself has been following the community. So if touch deaths were a problem, they probably would have fixed it by now.
Yeah.
And I'm also used to Marvel's Capcom, so
I gotta bring up a little confession since we're talking about Power Rangers. I was never really into Power Rangers growing up. I actually didn't like it. Because when I bring this up, a lot of people are like, man, you're being petty. I was like, come on, I was 8 years old. But part of the reason I didn't like Power Rangers is because they were the sole, well, not the sole reason, but they were one of the reasons why the networks decided to cancel Sonic Sat AM. Because as a kid, I'm still obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog today, but back then, oh my god, Sonic was like my entire life. And I remember watching... I was watching Sonic Sat AM. I remember watching the last episode, the Doomsday episode. Like, they were, like, setting up an amazing third season, and then it got canceled. And then eventually, years later, I would discover it's because, the president of ABC, I think it was, wanted to focus on Power Rangers because that was the next big hit. I was like, no! I want my Sonic! Give me back my Sonic!
No, that's a perfectly valid reason to not like something. I mean, I still hold a grudge against DMC Devil May Cry for setting the series back this much, even though maybe it was probably for the best. Uh, but so yeah, it's a perfectly fine reason to not like something. And if it helps, Power Rangers has actually have been having some problems production wise, in terms of toy sales and stuff.
I'm only
So I don't know,
like,
maybe you get your revenge
like
the end.
I do want to give Power Rangers a chance though. Like I have seen some episodes. I can see why people love it a lot. I'm more impressed because like another confession. There are like back then I used to be into Channel Awesome. You know, look at the whole nostalgia critic
Who
and shit.
wasn't? Oh, who wasn't?
I know a lot of people
Nowadays
are.
we get embarrassed over this. Nowadays we get embarrassed over this, but I'll admit it. I really liked some of that stuff.
I used to enjoy watching Linkara, and I know Linkara did a series where he was talking about Power Rangers. Like he actually did a Power
History
Rangers
of Power
marathon.
Rangers.
Yeah, and I was thoroughly impressed with how the English adaptation of Power Rangers makes sure that everything is like well written in a sense where everything is all connected. Like there's tie-ins and canons and whatnot. And
Oh yeah.
I'm impressed at how much work they're able to do that, given the kind of premise that Power Rangers is.
Power Rangers is so weird to me because I was a big fan of Power Rangers when I was a kid. Growing up, I watched a lot of the shows. Some of them were pretty bad. Power Rangers Samurai, Power Rangers Mega Force, but a lot of them were very good. But the thing that impresses me the most about Power Rangers nowadays is because last year, specifically the end of it, I got really into Kamen Rider, which is a tokusatsu show, basically the whole live-action Japanese special effects shows, and I really enjoyed it. And then I got into Super Sentai, which is the Japanese version of Power Rangers that later got adapted into Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing about Power Rangers to me is that Power Rangers and Super Sentai at this point are completely different things, like entirely. I know channels that are solely YouTube channels that are solely focused on Power Rangers and solely focused on Super Sentai that never cross over. Like,
oh wow.
people that are focused on Power Rangers never mention Super Sentai and vice versa, because the things are so different. Power Rangers has its own brand, has its own comics, has its own lore, and it's like, even though they use most of the footage from Super Sentai, they've managed to just create their own identity that's just completely separates the two communities. You can barely call Super Sentai fans part of the larger tokusatsu community with like Kamen Rider and Ultraman and all that stuff. But Power Rangers is almost a completely different thing. It's almost like Smash to fighting games.
Yeah.
You know?
I get you completely.
It's always impressed me. It's incredibly deep, like how far the rabbit hole goes for Power Rangers. Like there's so many comics, there's so many crazy stuff that I don't know most of it. I call myself a Power Rangers fan, but really I'm just getting into it.
Someday I do want to like check out the series in its entirety. I know Power Rangers is on Netflix, right?
Yeah, most of them are on Netflix, including the newest one.
Ah.
It's actually very, very impressive. I mean, I used to think that those shows were silly for a long part of my life. Like after I was through with Power Rangers phase in the past, like I thought the shows were silly, and that was when I got into Kamen Rider and I watched the first episode of Kamen Rider Double, and like after finishing the first episode, I thought, holy shit, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I love it.
For me, it's like growing up, I was mostly about the wacky cartoons. I was never really into action stuff. I mean, now of course I am, but as a kid, it was just wackiness. Because I grew up watching stuff like let me see, I'm trying to remember, like Animaniacs, Looney Tunes, and Tiny Toons, that kind of shit. That was the stuff that I grew up on. I couldn't really get into other shows like G.I. Joe and I'm trying to remember what were some of the most popular action cartoons in those days. There was one action cartoon that I was into big time. It was a big exception, which was Transformers Beast Wars. I was so into Beast Wars.
Transformers in general, man. That was so good.
I was obsessed with Beast Wars, man. That show is so good. I think it's aged really well.
I've watched like I don't remember the one. It was like from two. I know it aired originally where I live in like 2008, but I think it was originally from 2004. I don't remember the name, uh, but it was more of like the general. I'm gonna Google this up actually. Transformers. It was. It was Transformers Armada.
Oh, Armada! I remember that one.
I thought it was super good. The designs were just very interesting. I mean, as a kid, I just like flashy colors. That's it. That did deliver. Anyways, like, I think the reason why I just got so much into Power Rangers is because I live in Brazil,
Ah.
and Brazil has had a fantastic history of tokusatsu. Because, like, Power Rangers, like how America just adapts a lot of the stuff. So in
Yeah,
like
yeah.
early anime for kids, Power Rangers itself is like a whole adaptation of a relatively old
And
tokusatsu
in Brazil,
series.
you get
Right?
like the actual direct show itself, right? That's how.
Yeah, it was just a dub. No changes to the names, no changes to the locations. It was straight up in
Yeah,
Japan.
because that.
We just got a dub of so much stuff. Like, Jaspion, a lot of the stuff that the Americans that I've never even seen. We got Super Sentai, which is a series that Power Rangers is based on. Even dubbed, even before Power Rangers was even conceived.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Which
Because I was gonna bring up
and I-
it's the same thing where I'm from, El Salvador. In El Salvador, they would bring the cartoons like or the shows just directly over, and they just dub it rather than trying to localize it.
Yeah. And I mean, nowadays, like, a lot of like anime fans, I feel like most of the talk I say about this is like anime fans. They don't like when like localization takes too much liberty. When like translating a story, changes too much things like names and stuff. They generally make fun of like stuff for kids.
Yeah.
But Tokusatsu is so weird to me because Kamen Rider is a very popular series in Japan, but it never like saw much traction in the West. And they've been clamoring for an American adaptation specifically, not a dub, an adaptation, because for some reason the Tokusatsu community loves when the Americans take creative liberties with changing the story with the footage. I've seen like entire videos of people just imagining how they could use the footage they have to change the story in a way that would adapt it to American audiences. I don't know why they're so excited about like changing the stuff they like, but I'm all in for it. I think it's fun.
Did we get Thundercats? No, we never did. Well, from where I was originally from, I never really saw Thundercats, but that show is so good.
Oh, but I saw Senseiya. Have you heard of Senseiya?
No, actually.
Dude, Senseiya was the shit in Brazil. Like, to this day, people still talk about it. In fact, when Jump Force was releasing, they showed off these Senseiya characters in Brazil specifically in a Brazil game convention because
Oh, wow.
it's such a big thing here. It's a I don't think it's aged well. I think like if you're going to get into Sensei, you probably want to like get into Sensei Los Campos, which is like a mid 2000s anime. But it's a very interesting show. It has, I think, if I had to like sell Yuno Sensei over explaining a lot of things, I would say like the most interesting part of it is how it's almost like a Greek mythology story. Not only like the themes, but how the way the characters act, the way how everything is just so dramatic. It's almost like it's written almost like a myth.
I see.
Everything is so exaggerated and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I would recommend you look into Sensei eventually, but it's not. I honestly doubt a lot of people would get into nowadays because it's so much based on nostalgia.
I don't mind, like, because of the quarantine I'm in, I've had plenty of time to just watch a bunch of random stuff on TV and on the internet when I'm not busy just playing games, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For me too. I actually watched most of the. I think I watched around 10 Kamen Rider seasons. Like I started watching Kamen Rider in the beginning of quarantine. I've watched like 10 of these. I'm already caught up with the latest one. It's just been so much fun.
Uh,
Just learning about all these new things in the quarantine. I think like it's been a learning experience. Just getting to know a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of series. I've watched. I've played a lot of games. It's given me some time to think about stuff.
there we go.
Sensei is so big in Brazil that games leave Japan because of being countries nearby. Yeah, Les Gogeta is right on its comment. Senseiya has tons of video games, and all of them have Brazilian dubs. Like specifically just Brazilian dubs. They have like general Spanish dubs, Japanese dubs, and Brazilian dubs.
Oh, I see.
Some of them only leave Japan and go into the West because of Brazil, because that's like the main market.
Kind of reminds me of like how the SNK stuff is very popular in South America.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad is actually a big fan of King of Fighters. He's played a lot of them in the
Oh,
arcades.
very nice.
Speaking of, where are you playing two Johns?
Yeah, that's one of the challenges that you got to do here in Angel Slayer. 2 Johns. That's why I'm a little occupied.
Man, Kamiya just knows how to design viable characters, right?
There
He
we
just
go.
get very good at this formula. Platinum games in general, I think, they have so many good examples. Virgil counts, I guess. He was introduced in 1.
Yeah.
John, the Sixth Ranger from 101.
Wonderful one. Yes, yes. There's always those mirror type characters, and they're always the best.
And Sam.
Oh yeah,
Can't forget
Sam.
Sam. Sam is so good. He's probably like one. He might be one of my favorite video game characters of all time.
Oh man, I can't, yeah, like Gogeta's bringing up Project GG. I'm super interested to see how that game's gonna turn out.
I actually don't know what that is. Hold on, I'm gonna.
That was part of like the big announcement from Platinum Games. Go ahead and check it out. Like, see the trailer for yourself. It's looking great. It's the next Kamiya directed game. And it's also the first game to be made completely from scratch by Platinum Games self-publishing. No other publishers are gonna be releasing the game. It's them handling the work.
Oh, this looks like Ultraman actually.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. Like, this is looking like Ultraman quite a lot. Which kind of makes sense when you look at how Beautiful Joe is Kamen Rider, Wonderful 101 is Super Sentai, and now we have Ultraman.
Yeah. I never really made the comparison from Wonderful 101. I mean, Beautiful Joe Kamen Rider. That's interesting actually, which only recontextualizes the cameo with Dante. It's so weird how Dante's in. It's like the old Dante actor too, which by the way has not made an appearance in anything ever since.
Yeah.
Just so weird.
I wonder if people actually prefer him over Ruben Langdon's Dante. Because let's be honest, yeah, Ruben Langdon nails it for Dante.
No, he is Dante. He is Dante at this point. I mean, like, there was a rumor back when there were rumors about DMC5's release after it was announced that, like, Cavalier Angel, the old, like, Electric Knight thing, it was actually a Laster. It would talk. It would have the voice of DMC1 Dante.
Oh wow!
That was like the main rumor going around, and I wish that was true. I was like a big defender of Cavalier being a Laster back when he was first revealed.
That sounds like such an amazing idea.
And I'm still convinced it was a reference. But yeah, that was like the big rumor of Devil May Cry that sounded the most gaze of the bunch. But yeah, Drew Coombs, the first voice actor for Dante, it was pretty iconic. I still remember his voice. But really, nowadays you just can't beat Ruben.
Yeah, you can't. I would love to meet that dude. I've met quite a few voice actors over the past few years. I'm very proud of that. Let's see. I think... oh, crap. Let me concentrate for a second. I keep forgetting these dogs are, like, kind of annoying.
Oh! You're... There is the row health.
There we go.
If I got hit, I was super scared.
Yeah, it looked like I was gonna get hit. Nope, but I bat within. What I was gonna say was like, let me see. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head who are the people that I've met over the years. I met oh man, now it's on the tip of my tongue. Let's see. First off, I know I met Roger Craig Smith, the man behind Chris Redfield and Sonic the Hedgehog. Really great dude. I also met John DiMaggio. I met him and I had him sign my my Gears of War copies. Super cool. I met Kel Mitchell from Kenan and Kel.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
That's the most impressive one.
I was just amazed I got to meet him. Like, I had him sign my copy of Good Burger. I love that movie. That's such a fantastic childhood movie.
I mean, I've never met anyone famous. I had the chance of like meeting. I've had the chance of meeting a couple of famous people in like the local anime con I go to, but I never like bothered doing that because of the like, ridiculous lines.
Oh yeah. Getting through the lines is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I'd rather just play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Like, the longest line I was in was for meeting Charles Martinet, voice of Super Mario. He had a really long line. Obviously, you know, for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I've never really met anyone famous. I think like the closest thing I could ever like say like to like meeting someone famous is like I've had 3 interactions with Alfred over the years, which is like the Nintendo YouTuber, and that was pretty weird. For some reason, I just run into him a lot online.
Oh yeah, hold on. John Chin mentioned John from Gears. By the way, did you update Gears 5? Yes, I updated Gears 5. I am so happy that Dom is back. For those of you who don't know, like, I'm a big fan of the Gears of War franchise. I don't talk about it very often, but I do love Gears of War. And during the first 3 Gears games, I always loved playing as Dom. And I was upset to find out that Dom didn't come back for 4 and 5 for story purposes. But for today's update on Gears 5, they decided to bring back Dom as a playable skin in multiplayer. And I'm excited to go back to trying him out.
It sounds sick. I actually like was really into Gears of War mostly because I played multiplayer with my friends and my dad. It was mostly like 3 and 2, but I kind of gave up on the Gears of War franchise as time went on because I lost more and more interest in like third-person shooters.
That's fine.
At this point, the only one I really play is Vanquish.
Vanquish is good. Oh,
Vanquish
man.
is so good.
That's another game I never get tired of.
Like, I think I have my problems with Vanquish. But it's mostly just the way the enemies are designed. And also the camera, but yeah, that's it really. I think Vanquish is such an innovative game. I remember, what was it? Codex Talk.
Oh yeah, those bits.
Yeah, he made a YouTube video on Vanquish. That was how we learned of the game. It was about like cover systems of video games, and
yes.
He said something really interesting. It was like in Vanquish, the punishment is that you have to play a cover shooter, which is so smart.
I remember, I don't know who it was that brought it up, but I remember somebody was talking about Vanquish and how the devs behind Vanquish were asked to play Gears of War, And then when they finished playing Gears of War, they were told, make a game that does not feel like Gears or something of that nature. I might be getting it wrong, but I think it was one of those where like they spent a while playing Gears so they know how to make something that doesn't feel like Gears. Because that's how a lot of people see Vanquish, where it's like a Gears ripoff where you can't play it like Gears. There's nothing wrong with that. But obviously what makes Vanquish so much fun is that you get so much tools to mess around with that makes it a much more advanced game than just your simple tactical shooter. I'm trying to remember who it was that mentioned it. But I'm drawing a blank. But I know Game Maker's Toolkit made a fantastic video talking about the depth behind Vanquish.
Yeah, I actually watched that one too, but it was actually after I played Vanquish, which was a really enjoyable time. As much as I have issues with the game, mostly like, but they're mostly nitpicks anyway. I think like the idea behind the game and the gameplay can just speak for itself.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic game all throughout. And I really I know Vanquish is not like the type of game a lot of people. No, I think it is the type of game a lot of people here would play, but it's not the type of game people here would hear of. So if any of you have not played Vanquish, I would highly recommend it. I think it's in the Game Pass actually.
I believe it is. I'm not sure, but regardless, like play the game. It's available now on like new platforms. Runs at silky smooth 60 frames per second. You know it's good.
Yeah, I think it actually has a bundle remaster with Bayonetta.
Yes, as part of the 10th anniversary thing. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, get that. While we're at it, just play Bayonetta. Oh man, Platinum Games just makes a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's like one of the most consistent developers. I'm just happy that Capcom has been pulling its strings for the time being, and hopefully in the future they'll continue to make stuff like Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah. I would love to see some of their older games come back. I would love to see God Hand come out on PC.
God Hand would be so great. I'm not sure how it would go like nowadays. I think it would have to adapt its humor to like. Because God Hand is a very humorous game, and as much as it hasn't aged a day ever since its release, it's still incredibly funny. I think that like for it to hit more nowadays, a sequel would have to like play more into modern-day humor. I think that would be easily the hardest part because the gameplay they've already figured that out. The gameplay of God Hand is just incredible.
Yeah. I haven't been able to spend too much time playing God Hand, but I definitely want to go back to it. Like, I bought it digitally for the PS3, and it kind of sucks that digital copies of the PS3 games PS2 games on PS3 you can't run them on the PS4 as far as I can tell. Not unless you use that streaming service thing, which I'm not going to pay money for that.
Yeah, that's rough actually. But I mean, I think the funniest part about God Hand is that I actually played the game. It was like, I think the thing that has really influenced me to like style action games so much is that I grew up with them. I had like a pirated PS2 that I would mostly play Super Mario on. I know, weird, right?
Yeah.
But another game I would play a lot would be Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 2, Devil May Cry 1, and God Hand. But for the longest time, I did not know what the title of the game was. The only thing I remembered about God Hand was the roulette system, and I always thought it was really weird. So, like, when I first watched the Turbo Button video on, actually, never mind. That wasn't a video by Codex Entry. That was probably like another video.
I think it was Miles with a Y. Oh no, Turbo Button.
Yeah, that was the one who made the Vanquish video. He also made a God Hand video that I watched for the first time, and the memories just came rushing in.
Yeah.
And I just remembered all of it. It's such a fantastic game. I'm glad to see it also mark my childhood. Just as Okami, they're both made by Clover Studios, which is incredible. The only Clover Studios game that I haven't played, I think, is Beautiful Joe, which I'm planning on playing eventually.
Beautiful Joe's good. I made the mistake of skipping out on it the first time it came out. And like this was back when like the game came out on GameCube, and I remember enjoying the demo for it when they released that special GameCube demo disc. I remember having so much fun with it, but for some reason I never really got around to buying the game. And this was back when I didn't know anything about Hideki Kamiya. So like eventually when I started getting into Wonderful 101 and I learned about Hideki Kamiya, I was like, oh man, I have to go play Beautiful Joe. So I did. I actually went out, bought myself a GameCube copy, and I played through it. I was like, yeah man, this is exactly what I expect out of a Hideki Kamiya game.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I've heard a lot of good things about Beautiful Joe. The most exposition I've got out of him was from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Oh, by the way,
Yeah, I died. It's okay. I can start over. It's no big deal. We still got another 50 minutes. So we're good.
It's not as forgiving as...
Not as forgiving as Wonderful 101, unfortunately, but you know.
I mean, you are playing the hardest difficulty. I mean, the hardest game mode, I think.
Like, yeah, the hardest game mode. Like, trying to survive the whole thing. Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, I can, but like I gotta focus, and when I'm talking and whatnot, I can't do that.
Just as late, pals. We're here to have fun primarily. Just watch all the crazy gameplay.
You know, I'm gonna change up some weapons here so that I can keep things fresh. Let's see. I'm gonna change that, and I'm gonna put this here. Okay, we're good. Yeah, no, Beautiful Joe is fun. I played the first 2 games. I haven't tried out any of the other games that Beautiful Joe had.
You know, I actually didn't know there were sequels at first. Like, I thought it was like only one game. I thought, oh, should be a sequel to this. Most of the exposition I've gotten with Beautiful Joe was like gameplay and Marvel vs. Capcom 3, so I really didn't know. But like, I've always tried to get my hands on a copy of Beautiful Joe. I might eventually just give up and buy it off eBay or something.
Yeah. Man, there's so many GameCube games that are so hard to acquire these days. Like, I think the one GameCube copy that I'm very proud to own is actually no, two games that I'm proud to own. Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 plus the plus version, and Skies of Arcadia Legends. Those are 2 of the hardest games to find on the GameCube.
Yeah,
and I love both of those games, man.
The GameCube has so many like, not exactly rare titles, but these go away a lot because of how short printed they were. The GameCube itself was pretty short printed, but it just wasn't like very significant in its era. But nowadays, it's getting so much traction with all the crazy stuff people have been playing and enjoying in the GameCube, especially with like the new age of the internet era. People just talking about it. So the GameCube has like fluctuated in price a lot these past few years. And that's mainly the reason why I just avoided getting a GameCube.
I see.
I mean, I really can't play console, you know? It's just got a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah, no, I gotcha. For me, like, if there's one console that I could definitely say was my most personal favorite, it's gotta be the Dreamcast. Freaking love the Dreamcast so much, man. Like, that was...
The Dreamcast is...
what I wanted to say was like all my life, I was always the Sega kid. You know those stories about the console wars, about how everyone's always fighting to say who's the best? In my school, everybody was all about Nintendo. I was the only goofball that decided I wanted a Sega Genesis. And the same thing happened around my high school years. When the Dreamcast came out, I wanted the Dreamcast while everybody was playing their PlayStation 2. So, you know, I did not get the chance to experience games like Devil May Cry when it first came out. I had no idea what the hell Devil May Cry was, like back in those days.
Man,
I was just
I've always been the...
Go ahead.
I've always been the Xbox kid, so I know what it feels like to be on the wrong side of history.
Yeah, I'm more of an Xbox dude these days myself, actually. Like after I got a 360, I was just having so much fun with all the cool stuff the 360 version, the 360 console had. It was,
Yeah,
you know,
360 such a
Gears,
good console.
Halo, Forza. Yeah, I'm that ex bro.
I mean, nowadays I don't really participate in console wars. Like, the true answer for me is always going to be PC and Nintendo. That's
Yeah,
the best combo.
absolutely. Yeah, no, PC and Nintendo is great.
Like, the only at this point, the PS4 and the Xbox One are just. I mean, now the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are just so similar in power and in ability, and they're just in this race against each other. When like, if you're talking exclusives, sure, Sony has more of them. But Nintendo has real exclusives that never get out of their consoles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so having PC and Nintendo, you're just gonna have like both a console like a not a console like a big machine that can just play anything you want. It can make modifications in real time, and just have infinite possibilities. And you can also have a console that is all these exclusives, just very high quality. They're never gonna get out of it anyways. So it is a very good combo.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Sega Dreamcast, anyone? Asks Fragmentation. You are my dude.
Yeah,
Power Stone.
I held off on
Oh.
saying that. I held off on saying that, but the Dreamcast was just very good. I had a friend who had one, and like for a while it was pretty annoying because I couldn't play like I couldn't play like PS2 games on his Dreamcast. And like generally with my friends who also had PS2s, I would generally just share games with them. But the Dreamcast had a lot of cool stuff.
What made the Dreamcast so special was that it was a console that was designed to handle arcade games. That's why during the late 90s when you had such good arcade games like Power Stone and House of the Dead and Crazy Taxi, it was ported to the Dreamcast without a single problem. And my god, Crazy Taxi is that game. Like, if there's any game that I can say that I love more than Wonderful 101 and Bayonetta, it's actually Crazy Taxi, believe it or not. And one of these days, I'm going to attempt a high score run. Like, I've gotten close, actually. I've submitted my score to Guinness Records. I wasn't accepted because I was down by $100. I was like, no, God, no. But one day I'm gonna get my name into the record books with Crazy Taxi.
No, I believe in you. When you're like this close to achieving greatness, you gotta believe. Like, personally, I've never like gotten near a world record of anything. If anything, I've probably gotten near like one of those games I mentioned that nobody plays but me. But yeah, that's certainly impressive, especially with like how popular Crazy Taxi is.
Yeah. I don't very often talk about Crazy Taxi because, like, I don't got much other people that share the same feelings of that game the way I do, you know?
No, I've heard a lot of things about it. Like, it's mostly just like random internet memes, but Crazy Taxi just has had a lot of impact on everyone's life, I feel.
Let's see. And then, of course, there's Phantasy Star Online. Like, that game is the game that I was able to make a lot of friends with. Like, all my friends that I hang out with, they're all because we used to play PSO back in the days. Hell, that's actually where my name Setnaro originated from. It's like, yeah, like I created Setnaro through Phantasy Star Online. And it's all because like my friend who introduced me to Phantasy Star Online, like, he was telling me to create a character, right? So I was like there hanging out with him, creating a character, and I chose a Raycast, and he looked so cool. He was like this really cool big robot, but I couldn't come up with a name. And my friend is just telling me like, just take your last name, spell it backwards, and add an X to it, and that's what I ended up doing. Because his character was Zenitram X, which meant Martinez. So I took my name, Orantes, and then I put an X at the end, and that's how I became Setnaro.
That's sick, actually.
It's
That's
funny.
weak.
It's funny because it fits. I remember my dad was telling me like, "Wow, that's a cool name because you can say Set for short." And I was like, "Boom, that clicked. That's it. That's exactly what I'm gonna do from here on out." I like it.
Nice. Man, that's a way cooler story than like my nickname in high school or just school in general. My name is Mateus. And like my friends just call me Matsu because I misspelled my name once, and that's it.
Oh,
That is the famous thing compared to your story.
it just worked. I don't know what. Originally, I didn't like it. It wasn't until my dad pointed out that it sounded cool if you were to like shorten it. So I was like, you know what? It works. It works so well because I can make the word set fit with just about anything. I bring it up with Vash because I tend to be a goofball like that. I name everything after set. I don't know why I do that. I just do.
No, that's perfect. Actually, I totally agree with that mentality. I have been. How can I say this? I've been like theory crafting my online persona for like a year now. In the hypothetical future where I do make it as a very popular content creator, I have been like, I've been making like all these plans for the crazy stuff I'm gonna name after myself, and I totally agree with that sentiment. Oh, Last Gogeta says dodge off set.
Oh. Oh, you. It works. Although sometimes even I'll say that's too cheesy even for me. And I'm usually the guy that loves dad jokes.
I think that's cheesy. I've made up a name for my hypothetical motorcycle.
Really?
Yeah, it's you know what it's called.
What's it called?
It's called a Jet Set Go.
Wonderful.
Uh, But yeah, like, I've been in terms of video game consoles, which we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Sega was a big thing here in Brazil. Like,
Was it? Oh.
Surprisingly so. Yeah, it was like because Nintendo has never had like a big market in Brazil, but Sega on the other hand had factories here. They like made things here, and as such, it was like way cheaper than Nintendo stuff. And we just had like Sega consoles all around until the PS2 made its way here.
Wow.
And everyone just started buying that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know a single person who had the original Xbox One here. I mean, the 360 was really popular, but Sega ran like the early market for consoles, especially when compared to Nintendo. I like most of the people who know about Nintendo. I knew about it from the Nintendo 64, which like at the time of its release, didn't have enough competition to warrant like Sega really just like, overcoming it here in Brazil. But like we just didn't get the Super Nintendo at all. We just had the Sega Mega Drive.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that. That's
And
pretty cool.
I actually expected this to be true for a lot of like South American countries, but apparently it was just only a thing in Brazil. That always weirds me out.
Huh.
Yeah, Fragmentation says it was only released in Japan, America, Europe, and Brazil specifically.
Ah, there we go. All right.
Makes sense. It's especially sad nowadays because Nintendo has cut all official support of Brazil. Like most of the consoles still support Brazil a lot because they've like grown up very big culture around here. But Nintendo for some reason just dropped it altogether. There's no like Brazilian dubs or options in any of the consoles nowadays. Ever since the DS.
Well, I wonder why. That's strange.
I genuinely don't know why. They just have no connections here. They don't even have a Brazilian Nintendo account on Twitter or any social media.
Wow.
Doesn't Brazil get all its consoles late with super taxes? Yes, absolutely. We get most of our stuff late, which is why generally in this new era, ever since like the mid 2010s, people have just been investing on PCs because the prices for games in console are just so high. Like it gets to a point where like Devil May Cry on the PS4, Devil May 5, is twice as is like twice as pricey as Devil May Cry 5 on Steam, which has like regional pricing on it. It's insane.
Wow.
And I actually got my Nintendo Switch from Europe during a trip there.
So it's all about the imports when it comes to Nintendo.
Yeah.
When living in Brazil, you
Yeah.
always got to be ordering all that shit online.
It has to be imports.
Wow.
We don't have an eShop yet for Nintendo Switch, and we won't have it for like ever. I think. I guess that's fair. Australia doesn't have one either. But yeah, consoles are just a no-go nowadays, but for some reason people are still like holding tight to it, even though Steam just has insanely low prices in comparison.
Yeah. I got some friends that still don't want to move over to PC gaming no matter how much I explain to them. It's not that difficult to get into PC gaming. I got one dude who's like, oh no, but if I play PC games, I'm going to get viruses. And I'm like, oh god, no.
Oh no, viruses are the least of my concern. I've learned to work around them because, for the longest time in my life, even today, I've pirated a lot of games. I mean, a lot of them. And that's just like I've seen a lot of people in like the Americas and other countries like in continents like Europe and all that, just trying to justify piracy and working around. In Brazil, video game piracy is just culture. Like most people have pirated video games in their life and do it actively.
A lot of people pirate because some of these games are really hard to come by.
Yeah, that's generally the justification. But here in Brazil, it's just insanely hard to get a hold of these video games, not because they're hard to find, because the prices are just insane.
That also, yeah.
I guess it can count as like sort of a rebellion against the video game industry, but I don't know. Sometimes we're just scumbags, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's like a positive message or anything, but it's probably not. PC or PS5? It's PC all the way for me.
I was watching the PS5 event, and like all the games look cool, but I'm just sitting here going, what makes these games like what makes these games something that only the PS5 would power? Because they seem like games you could have no problems running on a PS4. Like, say for maybe a few, like Ratchet and Clank having that really cool thing where you can just like swap in through different worlds all at once. Outside of that, most of the games that I saw just looks like you could play these without an issue on the PS4. Like
At some point, we will reach a singularity point for graphical improvement.
yeah,
And
yeah, we're definitely gonna get to a point where like it's just gonna stagnate and we can't go any higher than what we already can accomplish. At that point,
Yeah,
it's just gonna be all
until-
about resolution. You know, like at some point we're gonna have 8K and then 16K and then 32K and Jesus Christ, how much bigger is it gonna get?
yeah, at some point, like in terms of the resolution, that's going to force a push on the TV market, if anything else.
Yeah,
Like getting monitors that are powerful enough to run those resolutions and big enough as well. I mean, as someone who plays a lot of fighting games, and I have to pay attention to monitors a lot because input lag and all that stuff. But that's the thing that scares me the most. And the PS5 not having only having one USB port.
yeah. What's up
which
with
is
that?
Insane. that's just gonna kill fighting games in the console.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, also just yeah, some countries it is either not being a gamer or pirating a few games. Kids that have that experience universally though. Yeah, piracy has been a part of my life for as long as I remember. I think like one of the first games I've played was Ocarina of Time in an N64 emulator. And that's just a fun experience for all. And like that's just a universal reality for some countries, I think. Wait, what were we talking about?
Video games. Well, more
Video
specifically
games.
about PC and PS5. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I totally agree with you. There's just nothing that really catches you to like buy a PS5 right now because at some point the details are gonna be so minimal that no one can possibly pay attention to that
Yeah.
and like catch up, and it's just not gonna matter at the end of the day. Like video game quality will be the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So the industry will undoubtedly stagnate, and I'm hoping they'll put more effort into like making good games rather than just focusing straight on. And we, never mind, we just got a $5 donation from Megasonic ZX. Here's $5 saying, I know it ain't much, but here's for the cause, dude. Keep it up. Well, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Hey,
remember that all
any
the-
amount counts, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, any and all donations help towards the goal. They help towards charity, and that's all that matters. We still have 6 days left. That's a lot of time to just pump these out. Just for like 2/3 of the way through, and we're only like 2 days in. So that's an incredible feat, I'd say. And we can totally make it by the end of this, I believe. If anything, we can push even higher. So remember, any amount counts.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, this quarantine has been fairly productive, actually. Like, I haven't really seen productive to my general activities and just being a productive member of society, but I've been doing a lot of stuff, and that's all that matters.
For me, like one of the biggest things I've been doing throughout this entire quarantine is like working on my weight loss journey. And it's been a huge success. When the quarantine started, I was at 220 pounds, more or less. And this week I've made it to 185. And I'm working to make sure I can go further below. And I had started my weight loss journey like several years ago when I was originally 300 pounds. So I'm very proud of like how much progress I've made. But I still got a long way to go.
You as well. Congrats. That's I like. I've never like really experienced just problems with weight in general, but I've heard like some of my friends have talk about their experience with weight loss, and it sounds like just really hard to get through. So I'm really proud of you. Congrats.
Thanks a lot.
Megasonic ZX21 on Twitch says, "First time here. You guys seem pretty cool, and if the name of the funding is anything to go by, it's for a good cause." And you'd be absolutely right. Thank you so much. That was any donation is important, regardless of the amount. And $5 is like already a huge step forward. So yeah, congrats. In general, like for me, it's mostly just been watching shows I haven't had the pleasure of watching still.
I've been doing a lot of Netflix binge watching. Like, I just recently finished, well, not finished, because I'm still down to the last 2 episodes, but I've been binge watching BNA. And that's a really fun show. Like, especially, like, if you're familiar with Studio Trigger, like, the animation is just really good.
Oh, Brand New Animal. That's the one. It's on Netflix, right? Most of the Trigger stuff is on Netflix, I think.
Yeah. Little Witch Academia is there, too. That's a fun show to watch, too. Boy,
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Brand New Animal.
Really good.
I've heard a lot of good things about it.
My only real problem so far is that it feels like it should have been a longer series because there's like so many cool arcs going on, but it feels like they're all cramming it down into 12 episodes. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes yet, but that's the feeling that I get when I watch the show.
Yeah, that's kind of the Trigger curse, really. Trigger has done some, Gainax as well. They've done a lot of the stuff that's considered like very high quality in anime, but they never really get properly expanded on. Kill la Kill was probably like the biggest success in terms of like expanding on their own lore and the general arcs of the series, even though it was like really fast paced. My personal favorite project for Gainax and Trigger was Gurren Lagann. I think it's fantastic.
Gurren Lagann is so good.
Yeah.
I remember when Wonderful 101 came out, so many people were making comparisons to Gurren Lagann, which, you know, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the ending.
Yes, yes.
The ridiculous escalation of the Wonderful Ones fighting against the evil aliens it reminds me a lot of Gurren Lagann, especially of how stupid the whole like power escalation is.
Yes.
Like, going through cities and planets. Gurren Lagann is a fantastic show.
I'm gonna have to watch that show again.
I've watched it twice actually. Especially the English dub is incredible, honestly. I still every time I think of like commoner stuff, I remember the dub voice actor. It's very good. If you haven't watched the English dub, I would recommend you watch it. But yeah, aside from that, I've got into Kamen Rider and it's been incredible as well. Like, I would say like Kamen Rider so far has been better than like 90% of shonen anime I've ever watched.
Ah.
It's just that good. I would highly recommend you watch Kamen Rider.
I definitely will. Like, I have a friend who is uberly obsessed with Kamen Rider, so like I'll talk to him to see like what he can supply for me to start watching.
Yeah, absolutely. If I had to like, if I had to give like a recommendation of something to start watching, it's really if you want to get into Kamen Rider for real, if you just want to watch all the series that are must watch, I would recommend you start with Kuga. Kamen Rider Kuga is the first one in the Heisei era, which is like a era of Kamen Rider with like 20 seasons. Those are considered to be the best ones. It's like from 1999. It's very good, and from there you can just move forward and watch all the seasons, or maybe just the ones you find interesting. But really, you can just start from any point. You can just pick whatever sounds cool and just start from there. But if you want my personal recommendation, Kuga is the way to go, and then you just move forward from there.
All right, no problem.
Especially because Kuga is also available, is the only one available legally for streaming, for free actually, on Tokusatsu. It's a Tokusatsu site. Very good, very fun. I recommend it. So these are finished with Lago, according to the time. I think there was a second dub in English. Not sure if they covered it all. Last Gogeta, the dub for Gurren Lagann is actually like fully dubbed, like the entire thing. It's all on Netflix. The movie isn't actually. The movie is like Japan exclusive. They're gonna release on the West.
I think the only thing I've yet to see from Studio Triggers is that movie they made, Promare. I think that's pronounced. How it's pronounced?
Promare, actually.
Promare, okay. I gotta
yeah,
watch
I've heard a
that.
lot of good things about it. I've heard a lot of good things about Premiere. I've especially seen a lot of art of it. Specific. I'm not sure if there are any other characters in Premiere other than the big guy that looks like Kamina and the Twink, because those are the only characters I've seen in fan art. But anyways, I've heard a lot of good things about it. By the way, you did die. You did die in there, right?
Yeah, I messed it up.
I guess, John. I mean, it's fair. That seemed incredibly stressful.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm starting to feel a little exhausted. But don't worry, I can make it out for the next 20 minutes. If anything, like,
Oh no,
I
that's
need like
perfectly fair,
a
actually.
1 minute break where I need to stretch my legs just a little bit. That's all I need, and I can get back into some Bayo action.
No, that's perfectly fine, actually. I can't handle like 1 hour of being in Bloody Palace. I have to pause the game and just take a breather.
And also, just like I'm starting to lose a little bit of my flair with Bayonetta. Like it's getting to that point where it's like I can no longer do any of the cool stuff that I do in some of my combo videos. It's getting to that point, man.
I mean, you need a creative drive, and it's hard to keep that up when you're like
Yeah.
talking for 2 hours.
Alright, give me 1 minute. I'm just gonna stretch for a sec.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go. No, I feel so much better. Believe me,
I'm glad.
I've done some pretty long sessions before. I can handle it. I'm a man. I go
That's the
pinky
spirit
standing
now.
up.
I'm not that much of a man yet, so I gotta get some water. Hold on.
I do stream actually 2310 Sammy. Just look up my name online, Setnaro X. SETNARO space X. Or you could just take out the space and just make it directly X. I'm on YouTube and Twitch. I stream simultaneously, so you got nothing to worry about. There you go. Thank you very much. Most of my streaming sessions are either Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, and on some occasions I do go back to playing Devil May Cry. Oh, thank you so much, man. That really does mean a lot. Like, a lot of people always say I give off so much positive vibes, and you know, that's how I usually am. I don't try, I just have fun. So yeah, absolutely. Like, check out my streams, but also check out all of the streams from the other wonderful players that appeared throughout this entire session. It ain't just me, yo.
That's right. Also, I'm back. Yeah, so far, it's just been fantastic to see you play.
Thanks.
Like, the contrast from Bayonetta and Winter 401 was, like, just a lot of fun to see. So all the way through. We haven't, like, been talking much about the Bayonetta combos, but I think they're fantastic. Just, I never really got good enough in Bayonetta to probably appreciate it, so I'm not, like, the best person to talk about it, I'd say.
Like, speaking of like Bayonetta combos, like I think the one video that I'm most proud of has to be the collab that I had worked on a couple of years back. Cause like, one of the things that I love about the Devil May Cry community is when, like, they make such fantastic collab projects. Like, just recently, Kyo made one I forgot what the name of it was, but it was one that he recently released that had like 62 players going at it with their favorite Devil May Cry games.
Style Union.
Yeah. And I was happy to submit some of my clips there. Like, I will not consider myself a good Devil May Cry player, but I played it enough for me to understand, like, what it is about it that makes a lot of people, like, enjoy its quirks. Like, I'm working hard to get better at games like DMC 3 and 4, because I would like to make videos for those. I don't know when I'll ever actually make a video, but I'm just having a lot of fun, like, messing around and discovering all the little cool combos you can do in those games. Like, I'm even messing around with Devil May Cry 3 on the Switch, because it has like an official style switcher, which, while it's not exactly an impressive style switcher compared to like the mod that we have on PC, it's still really cool to see like an official function for it. And I kind of dig like the weapon wheel too, like the whole thing where you can hold down the trigger button so that you can swap over to your weapon of choice with the right stick. Really cool there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you're interested in seeing like the Bayonetta combo videos that I make, like check out the collab. It's called Umbra Dance Party. It is like the one video I'm very proud of because I was able to gather most, not all, but most of the recognizable Bayonetta players out there. And like the fact that I was able to orchestrate something this big was just, it was so much fun. And I plan to make another one in the future, but I don't know when.
I actually remember you talking about it a lot on Twitter, like back when I first followed you.
Yeah, I was super active telling people like, come on, we got to get more clips, and a lot of people did deliver. It was absolutely insane just how much clips I got. I wanted to try to include as much as I could in the final video. I had to remove some in the very end because I couldn't make it work, but the stuff that I threw in there was still incredible. Like, we had clips from Ursa and Daedron and Frozen Grigus, I think that was his name, and among some of the really well-known Bayonetta players out there. So, like, I mean,
Daedron.
Yes, Daedron. Like, that dude is...
Daedron from somewhere. I vividly remember Daedron from somewhere, and I don't remember where and what it is. But I do know he posted, like, most of the official Bayonetta soundtrack. And I just saw his name there and just like, oh,
yeah.
Daedron.
Yeah, he's also really good at DMC. Like, he's much more versatile than I am.
That's probably where I heard it from.
I'm still, like, in the early stages. Like, I only came into the style community kind of recently. About as recent as 5 years can be. So, yeah, like, I mean, I'm still a baby.
Ready to make Cry, I'm assuming it's Mills. Might need Nick actually.
Oh yeah, no, I listened to
Vash's podcast.
Yeah, he was on Vash's podcast. I listened to all of Vash's podcasts. Like, I had so much fun listening to all the people there. It's just incredible just how much interaction Vash has had, man. Like, I think he's the center of everything when it comes to like this incredible community that we have.
Yeah, that's probably where I remember him. I listened to Vash's podcast, which by the way was fantastic. I remember like I actually interacted with Vash for a little while because I was bugging him about like a Devil May Cry community channel on YouTube where we would just like make tutorial videos for like Devil May Cry 5, which was about to release at the time. That never worked out. I partnered with Arcade, but that just never happened because I don't know. We just didn't have enough ideas and support for it. But
oh yeah, and I met RK actually like this year, way back in January when we had the when we had the Awesome Games Done Quick event. Like, I actually went, and that's when I got to meet Vash and D Cosmic, RK, and what was the other guy? Zero May Cry. I got to meet them all in person. It was so great.
I remember it. Vash was commentating for the Games Done Quick for Devil May Cry 5.
Yes. I was there. Like, it was such a fantastic commentary, man. Like, I don't know how Vash does it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the answer is Vash has an amazing voice.
Oh yeah, no, his voice is amazing. Like, if I had the money, I would hire him so that he could help me out with some voiceovers for some videos that I'm working on, but like I don't know if I'll ever get around to it.
Yeah, Vash, like he says on Twitter his voice is like actually kind of bad for like the voiceovers. I completely disagree. His voice is fantastic.
Yeah, it's a shame he wasn't available this time around. I was wondering why, you know, like I didn't see his name on the list. Nah, man, but it was great, like getting to meet these people. Like I've said it like many times. If I ever get the chance to meet some of the people that I recognize online, the thing I want to do most is just take them out for a drink and just have a good time out. You know, like
mean,
I was able to do that
meeting you
with
right now.
RK and Zero McCry, because like on the last day when I was in Orlando, we went to a Korean restaurant and we had like the most delicious beef that they had there. It was so good. The one, like, I want to bring this up because during the Devil May Cry 5 speedrun, when they got to that one bit where Vash spoiled the fact that V is supposed to be Virgil, well, one half of Virgil, right? Like the audience was just having so much fun, going, "What? Dante has a brother?" And if you listen, if you listen carefully, in the background, there's a guy that says, "Bruce Wayne is Batman." That was me.
I remember that actually. So that was a lot of fun.
Like I was trying to channel
I like
Red Letter Media, Mike Stuklaska, because like in one of the honest trailers that they did for Batman, Mike was there, and they're like asking questions, that at one point Mike is like, "Bruce Wayne is Batman?" So that's what I was trying to mimic when I yelled it out.
I remember that. I remember that vividly. That was a lot of fun. I like how the audience all collectively had the same idea.
I'm just glad the audience was like having so much fun that night.
Yeah,
No,
it
like,
was probably one of my favorite showcases in all GDQ.
It was fun being at the AGDQ just to watch all these games that they were playing. Like, there were some speedruns for games I didn't expect them to speedrun. Like, because at one point I saw them playing Riven, which was one of my favorite old computer games that I used to play, like, growing up. Like, this really old puzzle game. It's a... I wouldn't call it a point-and-click puzzle game. It is kind of like a point-and-click game, but it's more like you click around to explore certain places, and you're watching it from a first-person view, and you're going through like these pre-rendered areas. To watch a speedrun of that was like, wow, it blew my mind how these people were able to get through it real fast. Like, they had to learn how to like click in places like properly real fast, and the guy was also using the zip function where you can like double click and it allows you to skip 2 paces ahead. So it's like, damn, this guy knows everything that he's doing, and seeing that as a speedrun was nuts.
Speedruns are so like fascinating to me because they range from so many different skills, from like execution to routing to like dealing with RNG. It's such a like skill intensive and time consuming hobby that I can't imagine myself ever getting into all the stuff I have planned. But it's just so impressive.
Yeah. I've actually had some people ask me if I'd be willing to speedrun Bayonetta, and I would like to, but like having the mindset for speedrunning is very different from simply playing the game effectively. Like, I can see myself trying to speedrun the game, but then accidentally trying to be stylish. And then I end up wasting time just doing these cool tricks rather than trying to get through the game quickly.
That's probably like the one thing that stops me from speedrunning. That's not being good enough, obviously. But yeah, speaking of like the whole AGDQ thing, it was such a surreal experience just seeing the run and shout out all these people that I go like, huh, I know that person. I've talked to them once.
Yes. I was definitely recognizing all the shout outs. Like, I know Devil Never Cry had submitted like at the very end of the event. I was like, yes, I know that dude. I know this dude. I tried. Mills also contributed. It was fantastic. I tried to give out a shout out, but they never called my name. So it's like, I was sad, but it's like, you know what? I still donated for a good cause anyway.
Yeah, It's not mad. Like, I mean, like, the whole thing where, like, oh, you just met someone you, like, knew from the internet and you know, like, does good stuff, you're part of a community, and, like, you're, like, actively speaking to them, you're actively, like, contributing to the, like, community efforts. That's, like, a very good feeling.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing the feeling as well right now. I'm meeting someone I look up to.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, we're approaching the end right now. Like 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Wow, I actually was not aware. I got into the zone that I forgot the time has gone by.
Yeah, we're almost near the end.
Awesome.
That was a fantastic experience. I'm honestly hoping I'll get to host more of these. It's just a lot of fun to just talk about stuff.
Yeah, no, this is great. Like, I'm just extremely happy that I got to be a part of this again. Like, it makes me happy to know that I'm a part of something, you know what I mean? It's like what I was saying earlier, you know? Like, I feel like I've started rising up. I may not be the Devil May Cry player, but I've certainly had some contributions to the Devil May Cry community, so, you know, that's more than enough for me to say, like, I've done what I can. But, of course, I won't stop. Like, I'm going to continue playing these wonderful games for years to come. And eventually, let's see what happens if I make a good Devil May Cry video. It won't be anything extraordinary, but just making Devil May Cry videos is enough for me to say, hey, I'm having fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say I'm easily the least qualified person to be here, considering I'm not even half as good as any of you are. But, like, I'm hoping to pull my weight by hosting a lot of these events. Sort of just because it's a lot of fun just to talk it out to people. Anyways, so we're gonna have to wrap up now.
All right, this will be the last mission that I do then. I'll wrap it up quickly.
Yeah.
All right, don't worry. I only have 3 enemies to kill, and we'll be done.
Yeah. Give this a worthy finish.
Oh boy.
Just liver a health loss.
Oh, well,
Oh,
that
well,
works too. That works too. You know what?
I guess
Bayonetta's is gonna
that's like
take
a wrap
Bayonetta's is gonna go take a rest, and I gotta do that too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is where I say my goodbyes. So, listen, everybody who decided to tune in on for this stream, I thank you all so very much for tuning in. Make sure you guys continue donating if you haven't already, and thanks for being on board here with me. I'm sorry, like I'm drawing a blank here. No, I love you all, man. Y'all are great. Thank you all for having
absolutely.
me here.
Let's share this same sentiment.
Hold on a sec.
So yeah. Thank you all. Please keep donating. Let's all contribute to a good cause. It's gonna be a lot of fun. The rest of the events. We have a lot of days following up this. We're only 2 days in. Remember that. So yeah, I'm hoping to see you next time.
All right, man. See you later, everybody. Thanks, Jetstream, for being here hosting. Once again,
No
thank you
problem.
all very
Thank you
much.
too.
See you later, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See ya.